What's going on, people? This is another great installment of the film review.
Hey.
Movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to our minds. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracey.
And we review culture and movies, music, politics, and society. And do we have a great show for you tonight?
Yep.
Because we are recapping what we've done and also looking towards the future in 2019.
Right.
You know what I mean. So, listen. First off, we want to say thank you to everyone who has been following us and, checking out the podcast on SoundCloud, the audio replays, and also all of the people who have been watching the replays on YouTube. Now, what's behind us is a green screen, and for those who know about the magic, we're going to talk to the people who don't know about the magic. The green screen in film is where the magic happens.
Yep.
That's right, where the magic happens. You see, when you see the replay on YouTube, this will be a totally different background altogether.
Yep, it'll
say something like this, and then I may be bouncing things and bringing in different posters, just different things, because we're bringing up, and for 2019 we're going to be bringing up the production value. But for those who watch the replays on YouTube, you see the production value takes it from the live stream into something that's more like studio production, because that's what Lordland Films does. This is a lordlandfilms.com presentation. Now,
hi Pamela.
So yes, we want to shout out to the people who are coming on to watch, and I'm going to look on my phone real quick to see if I can start to populate and let people know what's going on. And so,
hi Tanika.
Right, yeah. So people are coming on to watch this now. First of all, let's talk about. We've had over 30 review shows so far. And and again, they're on SoundCloud and also on YouTube on the replay, and then of course on Crazy on Dion and Lordland Films page in the initial beginnings when it's on Facebook. But we've had over 30 reviews, and let's go over some of the film. Let's go over some of the topics we've talked about. We talked about Jay-Z and Beyonce during the summertime. That was our very first episode.
Yeah.
You can see all these episodes again on SoundCloud and on YouTube.
Was that the Carter album? Right?
That was the Carter album.
Right.
And then Beyonce had just released her album to the people.
What?
Yeah, that was it. That was the album released.
Yeah, joint album.
Yeah, the joint album. Yeah, it was just released. And we also talked about LeBron James and his move to the LA Lakers.
Yep, in his school.
Yeah, in his school. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about the first Purge. That was another episode where we talked about the first Purge.
Right.
And all of this you can see. First Purge.
Great
sorry to bother you.
Yep.
Then we talked about going to see the Joe Budden's podcast live.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. And he's gone on to now take his Joe Budden's podcast over to a paid situation.
Yeah. Spotify.
Yeah, that's right. And he's also on Revolt.
Right.
With the culture.
Yep, State of the Culture.
The State of the Culture. That's right. So we went there for inspiration and we got some.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. The Equalizer 2. We talked about what the word diversity really means. Black Klansman.
Speaking of, I like how you went from the Equalizer to Black Klansman, because from Denzel's film to his son's.
That's right. Yeah, well, that's how it came out, though, right?
Two great actors.
The
apple don't fall too far from the tree, right?
Then we talked about Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
And the tribute to her, right after she passed.
Mm-hmm.
Then we talked about the Meg in 3D.
Right.
And how, there were some, racist tropes within the Meg in 3D. Let's see. The Happy Time Murders.
Right.
Now that didn't do too well at the box office.
But it was hilarious. I'm surprised people didn't go see it.
People didn't go see it. It was hilarious. Because if you grew up,
or if Sesame Street and the Muppets and all of that, but the adult version. Imagine the adult version of all of that, and the humor was off the chain, and the Happy Time Murders. So like from beginning to end, the audience was just like cracking up and falling all over themselves in the theater. So I mean, if it's not in the theater anymore, But what is it? What Netflix, between Netflix, Amazon, and what Fire Stick? If you get a chance, check it out because it's hilarious. It's funny. Adult humor.
You know, just taking a break before we get back to some of the films that we reviewed over there.
Right.
You know, we were just walking in a big box store, and we discovered that, and we're going to answer your question in just 1 second here. We were in a big box store, and we were looking at what they charge for DVDs now, and what they charge for Blu-rays now. Right. And I'm like, there's really, they took away the ability for people to continue to make money with a physical product to sell. Right. See, the physical product to sell is what later in life, something that you can barter with. But when you only have things that are streaming, you don't really have anything to barter with. But like back in the day when albums became classic and you could get an autograph on an album or something, then it would cost something. It would mean something more than, you know, just listening to music. But they have cheapened not only music, but they've cheapened movies. And these are two mediums that are like the heart blood of what's going on in the society today. And so we should, even though you see in the stores, you see the reduced versions of CDs and Blu-rays and even CDs, you know, but you see the packaging is cheaper, the cases break easier. Like when DVDs first came out, they were like, you know, solid and hard to break and everything. So when you see someone actually selling something and theirs is a little bit more than what you see in the big box stores because it's their original, give those extra few dollars because you're helping that person advance to the point to one day, you know, they won't have to rely necessarily on the physical product, right? Because they will have shows and touring and all that. So that's a little bit about that. So we wanted to say that was shocking to me to see that because we do come from a retail background at one time in our lives before we got into films. Now to answer your question, she says, do you guys do movies? Yes, we do, and you can see those on Vimeo. That's the Black Ice Chronicles series. And you can also see The Preacher's Life on YouTube. Those are free. And then also we have the IGTV channel coming out pretty soon with Cheesecake Theater. So you'll be able to watch all of those different selections coming from LordlandFilms.com, from the mind of Crazy D. So let's continue now with some of the people. Yeah, the Shifter. That's up. You can see all those. Then, you know, we saw Operation Finale.
Right.
And, you know, I said this was about the Holocaust. Right. And I said there was no way that they would be able to put a racist trope in there. So go back and watch that review and you will find out how they put a racist anti-black trope into that film. It was, you know, hey. But then here's another movie where people are using their clout as being draws at movies. Ken. Ken was a great movie. You know, Jordan. Michael.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, Michael Jordan did that, right? And, you know, it's about a kid and he finds out that he's not alone in the universe. And that's what we'll say about that because we want you to go back there and watch these reviews. Hi, I am a gospel artist. I started working on my first worldwide in April of 2019. We will read the rest of it afterwards and we will get in contact with you. Most definitely, we look forward to hearing your music.
Yep, congratulations.
Congratulations. Then we talked about the new Eminem album, which I wasn't too...
And I liked it. I was impressed. I thought I think it's a good album. So...
Then we talked about Minister Louis Farrakhan being at Aretha Franklin's homegoing service. They called it a funeral, but the homegoing service. And
it was great to see him.
It was good to see the minister.
It's always good to see him.
It's always good to see him. Yeah. But you know what? You know what was funny? What's funny about it is they tried to snub him, but he still got more love in the end.
So because so many people wanted to know, why didn't the minister speak? So
Right.
many people look forward to hearing him speak. So
Yeah.
many people sat there for hours just to hear him speak. So that spoke volumes, and that just shows how loved he is.
I love it.
And not only in the community, but clearly across the world.
Right. And then when we talked about what we call about diversity, and you would go see that, then came a movie that really spoke to the quote unquote diversity, White Boy Rick. White Boy Rick is about Detroit in the 1980s and in the drug trade just coming out in the
Thank you,
1980s.
Tanika. God bless you also.
Right? And it talks about the dope gang in Detroit and how this little kid, 15-year-old, gets drawn in to basically be an informant. And so go watch the review, okay? And then you'll see what we talked about that. Then we saw The Predator. Main point on that when you go watch the review, but one of the points that we made as we broke down about the movie is The Predator is a series of its own, and it doesn't need to be a Marvel movie.
Right.
Or have any resemblance to a Marvel movie. Then we saw A Simple Favor.
Oh, one of my favorites.
It's just a great, nice suspense thriller. You don't know where it's going, what direction it's going in.
The style of the film, just nice.
Using social media. It was one of the films this year that we saw. One of the films this year that we saw that had a strong emphasis on what's happening right now through social media, podcasts, all that. Then we came to Assassination Nation. And this is where we talked about, Assassination Nation and Peppermint, where these are grindhouse cheesecake films. And now cheesecake is a term. It's not like the cheesecake, that you go to the store and buy or whatnot. It's about a period in the 1960s, early 60s, where it was cheesecake, where you would see women's buns hanging out the bottom of shorts. And throughout this whole film, that's what you saw. The lead character walked through the whole film like that, and that's what they call cheesecake.
But see, for me as a female, the film is empowering because you see the journey from, I'm not going to give the film away, but from these young girls, they start off from young girls in high school to the development moving into womanhood, because they're graduating, right? They're senior year, so they're getting ready to head off to college. But during that process, due to craziness on social media, something happens in their lives where they literally have to survive. And a few people are out to kill them. And a lot of Me Too issues are in the film.
A lot of issues about people following the leader and becoming a wolf pack, so to speak, are addressed in the film too. It's definitely a socially conscious film that talks about the politics of today within an entertaining situation. And then of course Peppermint, I have to say that Jennifer Garner,
she can act.
Jennifer Garner actually brought. Hey, what's going on, Michael? Jennifer Garner. We hadn't really been watching the film. I said, let's go see this though, and she pulls this off.
I was impressed.
It
was entertaining. Her acting was really good. She was really kicking butt in Peppermint.
And then, then we went to go see Venom.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Michael. We went to go see Venom. And it is an incredible film. It is. It's another Marvel film. And Marvel is kicking butt. And we're going to talk about, they have, what is that? Flash coming out or something like that. Right? Oh my God, we're going to talk about that later. That's a DC title. I saw an article in one of the trades, and they were talking about what has happened to the DC universe, and that's what I want to know.
They need to focus on Suicide Squad.
They really do.
We need a part 2. That's what DC needs to focus on, is another Suicide Squad.
Then we saw Night School. Night School.
It's hilarious.
A great film.
Yeah, Tiffany Haddish.
And you know, that was during the time when everybody was, and they're still talking about
And
Tiffany
Kevin Hart.
Haddish and talking about Tiffany Haddish is, you know, basically whatever. You can believe that or whatnot.
Right.
But it goes to show, and we just got a chance to binge watch The Last OG.
Yeah.
Now, at first, you know, because we didn't get a chance, because, you know, we were busy out there doing filming and editing and things, and we didn't get a chance to actually watch when it was on, but we actually got a chance to binge watch it.
Tracey Morgan
and
Tiffany Haddish
are bringing their A game. There's a scene in the last episode of the concluding episode.
Yeah, episode 10.
And where Tiffany Haddish stands in the mirror and she goes through different emotions.
Right.
And her acting chops are just incredible, because it's all about the face and acting when you're on the screen. On stage, it's about, you know, loud, bombastic, and being able to deliver with the voice. Right. But when you're on stage, it's about, I mean, when you're on film, it's about the close-up, and she is delivering, and I've noticed that in a lot of the films that we've seen her in. But
because in Night School she did.
Night School, she brought it out. She did ranges. It wasn't just all comedy.
Right.
Now, The Last OG, I thought it was going to just be a comedy piece, something like a Saturday Night Live thing. But we actually got to watch it, and not only it kind of reminds me of, in a different realm, a Good Times type of thing, where it's tapping into issues, social issues. That's right, and it has some funny points, but this is some real serious. They get into some real
a dramedy.
It's a dramedy, and they get into some real conversation about some gangster-ish. You know what I mean? They really get into it, and it's something like you'd be like, yo, this is a good show. So
along with family.
So it's family structure. It brings in what they've been pushing, and it's what they've been pushing with the mixed family unit, what they've been pushing to us to get into, and it describes it in a interesting way. Yeah,
because we're looking forward to season 2.
You know, and hopefully all that drama that the rags and the tabloids and stuff were doing in the tabloid TV are talking about the disgruntledness. They can keep going, because they have a great formula there.
Great chemistry between Tracey Morgan and Tiffany Haddish.
Then we talked about Kanye's lunch with Trump. Oh. That's right, and how Jim Brown was sitting there. We talked in depth about Kanye, but let's talk about Jim Brown. Now, if anybody remembers Jim Brown did 9 years in the NFL in our home city. We weren't yet born, but he left the year before they started the Super Bowl, and the Cleveland Browns had gone to the championships and won them, you know, consecutive times, and he was out in Hollywood after 9 years, and he was doing a film, and Art Modell would not let up. He said, you have to be in training camp. You have to be in training camp, because you're my boy. We had you up there on the stocks, on the boards. We were checking out your teeth, your muscles, using the finger cough. When you got to get back here. That's right. We measured your muscle, because I have to get everything out of you for what I paid for you, right? That's basically what the mentality was. And Jim Brown said, well, I'm out of here. I'm going to Hollywood. He came in Slaughter's Big Score, all kind of Three the Hard Way with Jim Brown, him, Fred Williamson, and Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly, rest in peace.
In the White House.
And to see him in the White House and say that he's just proud to serve, it makes you think, was that everything that we saw in the film and how he carried himself outside of film, was that all just an act? You know? And which makes me get to another point, because that's why we always say this is, and whatever else comes to mind as we go into these discussions, I think about how the older generations now look at the younger generations and say that the younger generation is doing something so wrong, right? And they talk about, oh, they're on these drugs. Well, I remember a time, and it was in films too, where people talk about tweaking and sniffing and doing all kinds of stuff. So drugs were always there. And if the older generations had done the job that they were supposed to do, then we wouldn't still be having to battle these situations now in 2019. So really, you can't expect the younger generation to do things any better than what you did unless you move out the way and give them advice and move out the way and give them the carte blanche to move forward and try different things instead of staying in the same things that don't work. Because fighting the power and saying we're fighting the power and I'm angry and all that, and then turning around and then wanting to join in and do kumbaya, well, that hasn't worked, right? So, but that's just another point. I'm going to leave that right there. We're going to talk about that more in depth in 2019. But, you know, it just came across my mind. So, you know, Jim Brown, love him still. You know, American, love it. You know, what he's doing for the people and what he's done for the people and the inspiration that he did for us coming up under them, looking at that generation, you know, what they had to go through. We love them for that.
And again, we're on live. You see our green screen behind us, and when you watch the replay,
you're gonna see a totally different situation behind
the film
us,
review.
You know? Yeah, you're gonna see, you know, the magic of, you know, Hollywood movies. Okay, now after we did that, we came across following up with the Drake versus Kanye situation.
Right.
We beat that to death, so we're gonna move on from that right there.
Or Drake, Kanye, Pusha T.
No, the Pusha T came later. That's coming up.
Oh, that's coming up.
Yeah, we had to do it a third time because you know Pusha T went with. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Right.
Then we had Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh, that was good.
That movie right there, if you get a chance to see it on streaming, definitely go on ahead and get it. It's definitely worth having in your collection if you can get it.
Classic.
Classic. It introduces actress that you see later in another film, in Widows. We'll say that we saw her in Widows, and she's doing her thing in that. And we are glad to see that. Well, we won't tell you. You have to see the movie and watch the review. Then we had A Star Is Born. Now, we have to talk about this for a little bit. Listen, they are putting up and they're giving this film accolades, but they're not giving, to me, now that time has passed and we can see what's happening, they're giving the film accolades, but they're only giving the film's accolades to the director. Who is Bradley.
Okay.
Bradley
Cooper, he's the director.
Right?
Okay.
And he also starred in the film, right?
The star and direct.
No, wait though. But the vehicle was supposed to be for Lady Gaga. Originally for Beyonce. Before again. Oh boy sat at the 2012 talking to the chair. Clint Eastwood talking to the chair, and you know, then she pulled out the film, and that was a wrap for him. And now he's in this last.
Who knew Bradley Cooper
could change his voice and act like he was a country singer. Yeah. But if you have not seen the original, A Star Is Born with Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson, see that film. Now, the next film that we reviewed was Blind Spotting. Blind Spotting is
was that the first review we did?
No. The first review was Jay-Z and Beyonce. The first review we did after that was The First Purge.
Okay.
But this was the first film coming. What you're thinking about is it was one of the first films this summer that came from out of Oakland, California.
Maybe that's what it is, and it made a really great impact on me. After seeing Blind Spot, it stood out a lot. This is a really great independent film.
Yeah, it stood out because of the voice and the story that it was telling. Yeah. And go back and watch that review too. It's it coming from Oakland, California. And at that time also we saw Jurassic World, which is really about GMO foods and the danger of GMO foods, really
genetically modified
organisms.
Yeah,
that's right. And so, that's what it's really about. But it's embodied into these animals.
I'm gonna give you
they
just
bring
an
back
example for
Okay.
those who may not be familiar with GMO foods. I was in a grocery store. This was not this summer, 2 summers ago, and the woman was giving out samples of a grape, but it was a cotton candy grape, right? So this is genetically modified. So we know that the cotton candy grape did not come from the Garden of Eden. So just an example of a genetically modified organism. So they went into the lab and they took the grape and then they did some artificial something and added cotton candy flavor to this grape. So and I was like, oh, okay, tried one, and that was it, and I left. But but they had tons of them, and a lot of people were buying them and stuff. So that's just an example of a GMO that jumps out a lot to me. Cotton candy grapes, and it was in the produce section at the grocery store. So
between getting GMO foods and a few years back, I was shooting still lifes, and so I said, let me go into the dollar store and get some grapes, just to shoot some still lifes with the photography and things. And when I went into the produce section, I looked and said, no wonder people don't want to eat produce. If they look at produce and it seems like this, the grapes felt sticky. It was something on the grapes. I don't know what it was. I didn't even feel like touching them really. I had gloves on just to touch them, just to arrange the still life and everything. But it looked like napalm hit it. And I say, I'm not going to give any advice on that. I'm just saying that go look at the produce and then go to some place like a Whole Foods and then just look at the produce there and just see the difference and spend and take time to spend just a few more dollars. Take the sacrifice to spend a few more dollars to put something in there before, GMOs go everywhere and then later everything starts looking like napalm. So let's move on.
Well, now that, just so people can know, now that Amazon purchased Whole Foods, and just like when you go on Amazon, you're able to get such great deals because there's just a volume of merchandise. Now, in Whole Foods, I've noticed that because there's a greater range due to Amazon, you can purchase like the vegetables, fruits, and everything. It's a lot. It's less expensive. It's less expensive than what it used to be. So the prices are better at Whole Foods compared to what they used to be years ago. Since Amazon took it over. So, just bits and pieces. Like, you can go to your local grocery store for certain things. And then the foods that don't have like a hard shell, like stuff like grapes and strawberries. And let's see what else. Grapes, strawberries. Apples, right. Yeah. That you're going to eat directly. Pears. You're going to want to get from like a Whole Foods because there's grapes. Yeah. You want to get stuff like that where the skin is out that you're going to eat that doesn't have any pesticides in it and it's not a GMO. You want to get that, like, let's say from a Whole Foods, but then you can go to your local grocery store, another grocery store, and get the hard shell items like, the bananas or the pineapples or, with the hard shell where with
the covering.
Where like the actual meat of the fruit
is on the inside.
And you don't have to worry about the pesticides so much. But what I do, like, I've noticed that Walmart has like a organic section now too, which is good. So with the fruits and vegetables and stuff, and then and if you have a stores like a Smart and Final, like out here, like on the West Coast, like you go into a Smart and Final, their superstore, they have an organic section too. So there's so many places where you can go and you can get like healthier foods, less expensive. So just kind of like look around and go online, and it's ways to eat healthier and at a more affordable cost.
Right. Okay. So, GMOs, stay away from those. The next film that we reviewed was Searching.
Oh, that was
Now,
excellent.
Searching is another film within a category of films that we went to go see and review that had to do with the internet. Now, this picture encompassed early internet, like the 90s into the 2000s up to today, and how you use passwords and everything to solve a mystery. Everything, what's interesting about this film, everything that you see on this film is told to you through the computer screen.
Amazing. Yeah.
Never once do you see the actors outside of the computer screen.
Yeah.
It is a film worth seeing. It's all POV. It's all your POV looking at
point
this,
of view.
looking at this situation happen. Either you're looking through their eyes or you're seeing them through your point of view on the computer screen. Beautifully written.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the father fought for the daughter.
Yeah.
All the way through, and if you don't have if you don't have a couple of tears coming in your eyes at the end of this film, I don't know what's happening, but let me tell you,
it's up there.
Seeing.
It's like one of the best films up there. It's up there with Panther for me.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing, and the way social media is used in this film is amazing, and you forget that you're taking this journey through social media, and just excellent work.
Excellent.
So it'll be my number 2 film.
And then we came up to the Bobby Brown story.
Oh yeah, BET. That was
the Bobby Brown story.
It was entertaining.
Very entertaining, and how this guy. Well, now I'm not gonna say that, because when people say guy is a negative term that I think. How this man went through his life, all the difficulties that he experienced, and came out on the other side with family.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
With family that loves him, and he has moved on and has done his situation. And it's funny because we just finished watching D.L. Hughley's stand-up
on Netflix, which is hilarious. You have
called
to see
The Contrarian. And he opens up with a joke. He said that 2017 was just like hard. Like Prince passed, but Bobby Brown is still here. Like God must have been on vacation. You have to see the joke better, but he opens up. But he's talked about it on a talk show, so that's not a spoiler, because he talked about it on some other shows that he's done. And it's just funny how a person can come from the 80s, early 80s, and still be in the lexicon today, and how people talk about how things are old and played out, but really, if you are still able to be a force and leave something that makes people appreciate you, you will always be in every era.
Yeah.
I mean, during the 80s, we were bombarded with the actors from the late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Matter of fact, in the 80s, they had the broad, and they got that back now. The shoulder pads are coming back for women, which were doing, it was like a 30s, 40s type of zoot suit thing, came back later in the 80s for us, and we saw it come back again. High top fades now, the kids got them again, the twists and everything. So you see,
even in the cartoons, the Spider-Verse.
Repeat itself. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get to that movie as well. So let's see. Then we spoke on Janet Jackson a little bit on that. Go watch the review. You'll see what's happening. Then we saw the new incarnation of Halloween.
Oh.
It wiped away sequel 2, 3, 4, 5, all the stuff that the other guy made, Halloween 1 and 2. He remade it again, and it picks up 40 years later. Nothing of all that other stuff ever happened. He's in the institution, and something happens, and it kicks off from there, and then the ending of the film,
you know what it is, basically.
But it's like, really. I mean, we could have ended it there. It would have been great. Okay. Pusha T responds on Joe Budden. Now,
oh yeah, that was a good interview.
That was a great interview on the Joe Budden podcast. And let me tell you, if you don't realize when someone is playing chess, Pusha T showed you chess, and he took it from out of the realm of hip hop music and took it to psychological, mental breakdown, which would cause people to look side-eye at someone in their crew outside of hip-hop, but the crew that runs together causes dissension in the crew. I mean, well played by Pusha T.
So it's an interview worth watching.
Well worth watching.
Yeah.
You know, but it's slightly different. But it's like what's happening now with Bone Thugs and Migos.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's like, okay, Migos came out and said they're the #1 rap group of all time. And Bone Thugs and Harmony members have taken exception to that statement and really don't necessarily believe it.
Right.
And so let's see what happens. So Lazy Bone released a diss track, and we're going to get more into that in 2019 because it's one thing when you deal with people who come from CLE in particular, it's like it kind of, the lines can blur between just what's on digital and what's in reality. I mean, I guess that's how it is, but it's really on whatever you would call it. It's really hyped up and worse. So we're gonna get on to that more into 2019. But let's see this on wax and see what really happened. Not wax, but on digital, and see what happens as far as bar for bar, verse for verse. Okay, so the hate you give. Now, just like blind spotting, the voice that's spotting out of the way, and let's just stick with what we're talking, the hate that you give. First of all, it was written by a female screenwriter who has since passed on. She didn't get to see the film released theatrically, but I'm sure she saw cuts of the film.
Based on a book written by African American woman.
Based on that. So thus, the tropes in it would remain true to it because you have to stay true to what the woman who wrote. Right, that's right. But it's troublesome because she has a strong black father, but the choices that she makes in men, in a man in particular, is especially when you know that you have such a strong male figure in your life. You know, so I mean, but see the film and you can judge for yourself.
And then, see the film. It's a good film, and then you just, and then to remember, this is just like one little part of the teenager's life, right? Because this is her. I love the relationship between her and her family, specifically her father. She also had a great relationship with her mom and her siblings, but who knows? So, because I don't want to give the film away, it's really worth seeing. But because of her relationship with her father and her respect for her father and how much she looks up to her father, I could see like her relationships maybe in college as well after her being in a relationship or marrying someone exactly like her father, because this is just high school. Okay, so what is the next?
father taught her to 10-point plan.
Right.
You know what I mean? So anyway, the Sisters Brothers. This is a Western where the world, the outside world, which is what's surrounding it and being told, the mountains, the trees, the lakes, all that, the towns.
It was well done.
Well done.
Beautiful.
It's a world of its own already.
Right.
And then the storyline between the two brothers, one a little off kilter, the one being the one that keeps it heavy.
Yeah.
You know, is the muscle organization. But there's a scene in it that you're like, why did they do that? But then we could tell it now because it's not gonna be a spoiler.
No, you know what?
Yeah.
No,
Let me tell you. There's a situation. Okay, I'm not gonna go there. There's a situation with a spider, a person sleeping with an open mouth.
So this one, and that's it. But you gotta.
And then you say, why did they put that in there in the film? But then it was telling, like how you watch westerns and you never hear anything about hemorrhoids, or you never hear nothing about boot toe, or you never hear about anything sunburn.
And they was getting sunburned.
But this right here is something that was probably documented that they do not put in the history books.
Right.
That you're sitting out there in the desert, just sleeping, got your mouth open, and here comes a critter.
You know what you can tell in this film? They did a lot of research.
They did.
You know why? Because just little things in the film, like even like with the little toothbrush thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was just little things where they did good research. And when we saw the trailer for the film, first of all, I love westerns. One of my favorite movies is Tombstone, and they showed that again on television the other day, and we was watching it again. Favorite character in that film, Val Kilmer, who played Doc Holliday. Excellent film. But Sister Brothers. When we saw the trailer, we knew we had to see it. I mean, first of all, you have Joaquin Phoenix and then Jake Gyllenhaal in the film, as well as the other actors who are great actors in the film. I mean, definitely had to go see it, and it was worth seeing. So it was a great film.
Like whenever you see Jake Gyllenhaal in anything, you should go see that. It's like seeing Denzel's name or something. You're going to go to the movie and see it. You know what I mean? Because it's just like seeing those names, and you'll say, "Yeah, go see it." Because Jake Gyllenhaal, he advanced after Brokeback. He advanced on. He had to be left behind. But anyway,
Joaquin Phoenix. Later, when we do our moving forward, after discussing the films we reviewed this year, you'll hear his name come up later because he's in another film in 2009.
2019.
2009.
That was 10 years ago.
Right. In 2019, he has another film coming out. Excellent trailer. We saw Joaquin Phoenix. So when you see those names, it's like, okay, you gotta go see the films because they never let you down.
Now, if you really want to rock out with some great... Now, we always say that, rock and roll, we know where rock and roll started. It started with black people. We used to call it rhythm and blues. Not the rhythm and blues that they have R&B today. But, it's just like how you hear jazz today, and you think more of like, they kind of give you the face of Kenny G, but really jazz is straight ahead. Thelonious Monk, John Coltrane, that's jazz, right? And then you have contemporary jazz, which is basically R&B with instruments. But anyway, it's the same with rock and roll. Rock and roll was switched over, and they changed the face of rock and roll and put a white face there. However, come the British musicians from Britain, who would be considered white when they come to America, always gave homage to those that they listened to over here, and always wanted to search those people out. The originators of rock and roll, R&B, jazz, blues, gospel, hip hop, reggae. They wanted to search them out wherever they go around the world, where those musics are created by the black people who create them. Bohemian Rhapsody, the true story of Queen, rocks out from the very, very beginning, the inception of introducing you to the Freddie Mercury character and the other band members. It rocks out and goes through a whole situation, and it discusses a time period with the scare of HIV AIDS when it came across, and it was basically a white homosexual male disease, and so it discusses that, and it goes through
it's like to sit through that film was, it was nice because just to hear the music, you know, come through the speaker, like the whole theater, people were like rocking and dancing and singing.
Because if you didn't, we were just having. Matter of fact, if you watch the last show for 2018 of Like It Is Radio, which is on Crazy on Dion page and Lordland Films and Like It Is Radio, and we did the first live stream on YouTube connected to Facebook on Friday. It's also on YouTube on the film channel page. The film review page that you're going to be watching this on shortly. You'll see that we talked about the different guests talked about HIV, AIDS,
Right.
and how it was a scary situation. But to listen to that, and then later we had lunch and we were talking about music. If you did not listen to Queen, then you missed a lot of some of the songs that influenced hip hop, along with James Brown and Parliament Funkadelic. I would say Queen is in it, and also AC/DC from that time period. So if you're sitting there, you're going to recognize songs in there that are incorporated into music today, as well as was listened to then, especially in the 80s. If you didn't have the Best of Queen and you didn't have that AC/DC album in your collection, then you weren't like a real hip hop DJ, you know. So we'll say that. Never Heard, great film, you know. Never Heard.
I'm trying to
watch the
remember.
review. I'm trying to remember it too, because it was a great film, but I cannot for the life of me remember Never Heard. Nobody's Fool. That's the Tyler Perry joint, and that's starring Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah, that was great.
And
Tika Sumpter.
Yeah, and we were talking about how she
Omari Hardwick.
That's right. How she shows you her range, and Omari Hardwick. We talked about that too. How he shows his range. How he can go from a character like Ghost and play a totally different character, and you do not see Ghost in it. Let's go back to Never Heard.
Never Heard. Excellent. That's right. Okay. That was the independent film with David Banner.
That's right.
Romeo.
Never Heard. That's right. We talked about how the reason why we don't remember that film is because we had to not necessarily give it the best review. We love David Banner, but the person who shot the film, there was some unrealistic parts in it. Romeo's acting excellent. David Banner's acting excellent. Master P, he steals the show with one. He's on the film. He's on the screen for about 7 minutes, and he steals it. You know, just being true him. That's what it was. Never Heard. Overlord.
That was good.
This was a underrated film.
Yeah.
I don't think people got it, but then they used, though AC/DC is not in the film, but when you watch the trailer in the movie theater, they used AC/DC.
Yeah.
But this film is really a breakout film for the actor who played in that film.
Right.
You know, you should definitely see Overlord. You will be entertained. It's like a war picture meets zombie picture meets apocalyptic type subjects. It's definitely worth seeing.
So definitely you see Overlord. Definitely see Never Heard.
Because judge for yourself.
We mentioned David Banner. You got to pick up his God Box.
Yeah.
Also check that out. Excellent CD.
Mm-hmm. Then we came to. First, let me preface this by saying when we have our directors and producers and writers get to the big screen, we want them to have films that are undeniable. That when you go to the theater and you see them and it's undeniable and there's no doubt, because sometimes we can be our own harshest critics on things, but we are not though we review, we are not critics.
Right.
Okay. River Runs Red. All-star cast. Could have been edited different to move faster. The pacing was off. The story was too on the nose. Too many things that should have been more cerebral, put right up front. But the person who directed it, wrote it, he's there, he's on screens, and it's only up from here. But we just hope that our people will come and bring things that will be undeniable to their own people as well as the masses.
Yeah, because it starred with Tay Diggs and with George Lopez, right? It was good. I don't want to give it away because it's definitely worth seeing. But I enjoyed like the twist in the film because the way it starts off and then the ending, with Tay Diggs' journey for I don't want to say vengeance, but for you'll see in the film what happens to his son and what he does to avenge his son. So it's definitely worth seeing.
Yeah, definitely worth seeing for that one. Look at that. Definitely worth seeing. Now, it's where we always tell you have to judge these things for yourself. That's the worst thing that people can do when films come out is listen to critics. We're not critics. We're film lovers. And there's certain things like when you watch our film review, I break down structure of film, not just a critique of film if I liked it or didn't like it, or we liked it or we didn't like it, but we break down how film is supposed to pace. And what makes a great film a great film. And
definitely, the director is Wes Miller, so make sure you check that out. And because I love like the independent films, it's important that we see them and support them. Like we also talked about Blind Spotting, which was independent, right? Never Heard was independent. So like I think the sister was also it was independent also, even though it had like big names also in it, like with River Runs Red with Tay Diggs, also independent film. But definitely support independent films.
Absolutely. We go see them because it helps and it puts dollars there, which makes people want to put budget behind more independence. And so that is very important to us, that independents get that fair shot. You know what I mean?
Remember how About It blew up independent.
Let me tell you something. Master P is coming back again with new films going straight to the theater. But let me tell you something. I was in my store then. The soundtrack it was on VHS. I remember About It. It was on VHS.
Hello, LaKayla.
And it was on VHS. And the phenomenon of that and the opening scene. Everybody should have seen the opening scene by now. But it's Master P is having a meeting with his kingpin, so to speak, his runners and all that. And he sits there and he's, you find out that he's discovering who is the snitch or whatever, and he pulls, and it's the opening scene.
Well, don't get a film.
He pulls, and I can just tell you that it's one of the greatest scenes, and I would have to say in cinematic history, it's one of the great scenes.
Paid in Full.
Paid in Full, another great film. Absolutely. And Dame Dash just won an independent award for his new Hustle Up film. And it's funny, Dame was going to take all of those films to Vimeo first a few years ago. And for him to then decide, because he's an independent and he can make his own decisions, then decide to take it from just being on Vimeo only and moving it into film, is being able to get it in theatrical release is definitely an incredible situation. I will say. See how we do whatever else comes to mind, whatever else comes to mind, because we move like that. We have to be fluid like that, people. That's what we have to do. Okay. Then we come to, I believe to be a cinematic masterpiece.
What? Which film was that?
Girl in the Spider's Web.
Oh yeah, that was really
which is
good.
another take on. The girl with the dragon tattoo.
Yeah.
Now, like we said before, the woman who plays it, she emotes.
Yeah, she did.
So well in this film.
Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield from Atlanta.
Let me tell you something.
Excellent.
Atlanta is producing the show Atlanta.
Right.
Well, of course, the city of Atlanta.
Right.
Is producing so many stars, but Donald Glover in particular is responsible for producing, for having people who are starring on his show that then have the acting chops to go on and push out beyond Atlanta.
Yeah, because every single actor person on his show, they've all been in other films, successful films, projects. Like what? One of the actors is in Deadpool. One of the actors is Widows, as well as in
Yeah, we're gonna come to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean and then just like in this film, Lakeith Stanfield. So I mean, Donald Glover, he put like an amazing team of actors together, as well as his success in music. Right, so
and they grind out. You know what I'm saying? That's what I look for in actors when I cast for the Black Ice Chronicles and A Preacher's Life. I look for actors that can grind out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. They grind out. They are able to tell the story and emote and bring the characters that I produce to life, I write to life.
Yeah, you do an excellent job of selecting a team of like excellent actors, because seeing them act and emote, just seeing how their work is so good. When other people see the actors, like in your projects, they see how good they are and they put them in their projects. So I mean,
that's the goal of the Black Ice Chronicles,
right? For
the actors to be seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated. Yeah. And that's what it is. And so I've
to
done
pull
my
the
job.
best out of people and to give them excellent scripts where they emote and they're not just stuck in one character. You really, really actually see their acting chops, which opens up the door for them to do other projects. Like one of the actors from one of our films, like for instance, Algie, who's a great actress, to see her over the summer, in a play, the Eclipse play, I mean, was just amazing, and like just so like proud of her. And so that's just to see that also in Atlanta, just to see when a person just puts together a group of talented people. That's what it's all about.
I mean, we definitely have some hitters for the Black Ice Chronicles on all the different offshoots that I spend, like Roland Matthews, killing it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Stuart Elzy, killing it. So I mean, we watch.
Just watch The Preacher's Life and just watch Stu and Algie Roland just kill it. Roland kills it. They kill it. Excellent actors. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, all that's available on LordlandFilms.com. Right. So let's see. So the spider, the girl in the Spider's Web, well worth seeing. The conclusion of the film, you do not see it coming, and that's what I'll say to that. They'll Love Me When I'm Gone, which is a documentary about the last film that Orson Welles was trying to get completed before he passed on. He had he completed many other films before he passed, but this was one that was held up. He had got financing from the Iranian government, and then once the Shah switched to more of a conservative or religious Shah, then the film was confiscated, and he was never able to finish the film. But it went for 7 years. And then right after that, now this was a Netflix original, right? And right after that, it connected right into The Other Side of the Wind, which that's what the documentary was about.
Right.
And The Other Side of the Wind, you can see the actors' age.
Yeah, you can.
And you can see where Orson Welles has said some of the actors had passed on before he could even get some of the last films, but his instruction notes and some of the rough cuts that were done while he was alive, they were able to create the film and put the film together, and it is well worth seeing. And what's so funny is he predicted what we're doing right now. Reality TV, except for it was film cameras covering everything. But it's just like what it is, what he was predicting is exactly what's happening today, which makes it timeless, which brings those actors that were back then in the 70s into today. So it makes them relevant and timeless and ageless again.
So this definitely worth checking out, because it was interesting to see the documentary, and then from the documentary to see the finished product was amazing. Although Orson Welles passed and he didn't live to see it, but I'm glad that the editor did a great job in using the material that was left to create this film. So it was amazing to see the documentary that Orson Welles did, and then again he passed before actually seeing the actual product, which came on right after that on Netflix. So it was nice.
And you know, there's a debate in Hollywood. You know, the movie theaters are upset with Netflix because Netflix are bringing out original films that are going straight to Netflix instead of going to theaters. So that's a big situation, and it seems like they're trying to keep Netflix from out of the running for awards like Golden Globes and Oscars. Like they're kind of keeping stars out.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it kind of like they're pushing and saying, well, we don't want. Then I don't think that's necessarily right, because just like how when TV came in, the movie theaters were worried that TV was going to take away from the movie going public, but it always balances out, and it's the same thing with Netflix. It's wrong for
everybody.
There's Netflix, and Amazon Prime, Hulu, all that. There's room for everybody, and the movie theater situation will be all right if you produce quality films. Okay, so.
And give us another amazing Marvel film like Panther.
Yeah. And then, because they're talking about how Aquaman is doing, but but anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Widows. We saw Widows. And, it was a great film, and there is a twist at the end of the film that will have you just tripping. So go and watch that. Go and listen to that review on the film review on SoundCloud, and also the film review on YouTube, and you can watch us actually give it, and then you can listen to it. We're podcasting. You know what I mean?
So watch the Viola Davis. Like we said in a review, you'll see the review. She killed the film. Daniel Kaluuya, as well as Brian Tyrese Henry, again from Atlanta. Yeah, so excellent film. They killed it.
So it seems like it's those actors that are in the Panther and the Atlanta family that are really doing it, and we're going to be seeing a film with the Panther family again coming up in March. We're going to be talking about in the second half of the show.
Oh, and I love how Cynthia Erivo. She is also part of the Widows cast. So when you see Widows, she killed it. Yeah. She's the one who's starting in the El Rey.
The bad times at Hotel El Royale.
Oh, yes.
Bad Times at El.
Yeah, and she's like, based to me, like the star of that film. So.
Yeah, she is the star.
So she killed it. And she's also on Widows. So check it out.
Yeah, she's moving along. Then we had the pleasure to talk about Mariah Carey's Caution album.
Right.
I mean, Mariah Carey's Caution album is an incredible album. Yeah. Yes, it is. She brought her tone down, right, so that she won't have to sing in those high, ranges anymore. She brought it down. And at first, like I said, I thought I was hearing Monica at first, but it's so well arranged that it's worth hearing and purchasing and having in your digital library.
So definitely pick it up.
Creed 2.
Yeah,
Creed 2 was an excellent film. This one was written by Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. I thought in the first half of the film, the relationship between Creed and Rocky Balboa.
Kayla said, I love her. Yeah, Mariah is amazing. Listen to her CD, is nice. But yeah, Creed 2.
I thought it was pedestrian, the writing, but then the second half of the film, it really opened up. But I felt that maybe Stallone, because I thought the first Creed, Coogler brought something out in Stallone that I hadn't seen, and that's why Stallone got the Golden Globe. I will be shocked if Stallone gets a Golden Globe this time.
Yeah, well, Coogler is what the executive producer is.
Yeah, he's the executive producer.
So definitely go out and see.
But he brought something out in Stallone, and I said, because Stallone does those action pictures, and it's like, okay, it's kind of, you have to have an acquired taste for it, because it's kind of like Get Shorty was like, was like a knockoff of the other show, which I can't remember the name, with John Travolta, and it's kind of an acquired taste because they're kind of campy, and the writing is not that serious because it's an action picture, and that's what it's about. That's just my opinion on it. Though I love Stallone, all the Rocky picture, and if it wasn't for him making the Great White Hope film, we wouldn't have the correction now with the Creeds. And so, second half of the film, excellent, well worth seeing, did great at the box office, star power on the screen. Then we went to go see Disney's The Nutcracker. Now, for those who don't know, we come from Cleveland, Ohio, and we were bombarded every year because, we had a company called the Cleveland Ballet. They danced at, what was that, Severance Hall? They danced at Severance Hall, as I remember. Or was it the Playhouse? I can't remember.
No, it's the Playhouse.
It was the Playhouse.
And we had a Cleveland Orchestra.
Was played at Severance Hall. Yeah, it's a cultured city. It's highbrow, But anyway, so we were bombarded on TV every year, WKYC, with the Nutcracker, because we had, what is his name? Naristnikov, or whatever his name is. But
Boris Naristnikov.
Yeah. But he was a defector from Russia, and he danced at the Cleveland Ballet, and so we were bombarded with this story, right? The Land 216, that's right. Now we have everything in the 216. Thank you, Caleb. But so we were bombarded with this, but this was what made the Nutcracker, the Disney's Nutcracker, is it had a narrative outside of the Nutcracker story. It weaved in elements of the Nutcracker story, because the Nutcracker was all ballet, but this weaved in parts of ballet, and the parts of ballet were delivered by none other than
Misty Copeland.
That's right.
So she did an excellent job.
And
definitely
you have to see this film. That's right.
It's visually beautiful.
Yes. It's kind of like.
Go ahead.
It's kind of like the French silent version with the music, which was during the era of black and white, but they turned it color, and all the different optical illusions they used in the original French version of Beauty and the Beast, which was a silent film, but the colors pop and it's kind of the same type of
and
situation.
And you got Samuel Jackson in it. He does an excellent job. So check it out.
Samuel Jackson is the go-to guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Samuel.
He's an excellent actor.
I don't know how many films he's
Morgan
got.
Freeman, Denzel.
Yeah.
He does. I mean, Samuel's catalog is crazy of films. Great. I mean, he is a true artist.
Now, during the times of segregation, there was a book that was compiled and put together for black motorists who were traveling to the South to visit family and friends.
Right.
And it was packed with places that people could go, where they could stay, where they could go down south and feel free and not have the burden of possibly being stopped and lynched on the side of the road by unscrupulous, hateful, Caucasian, backwood whites, right? It's the best way to say it to you. And that book was called The Green Book.
Okay.
So we saw the film The Green Book. Now, there's been a lot of controversy since we saw the film. Now, when we reviewed the film, we said that it seemed like the character was of the doctor was one-dimensional.
Right.
And really that it was a love story between the Italian husband and wife.
Right.
Which it really was, right?
Well, the film was done by his son.
Right, but done by his son. But the family has since come out and said that their father would have eaten. I don't know why that makes a big deal, but it's like we sometimes fall into the same traps. The traps that they lay for us. Mm-hmm. You know, we fall into them. Who cares if the man knew how to eat, knew about fried chicken,
didn't? A good film.
Knew about the R&B people, or didn't. Not taken away from what the family feels, because they have a right to feel that way if they weren't consulted with or agreed with where the man was going with the film.
Yeah, I think they would have liked to have been consulted, which is only
or consult on the film.
Consult,
and
be a part of it.
Inject into the script something more than the one-dimensional storytelling they told. Though it was a great story and the man was a dignified man.
Yeah, Marshala Ali did an excellent job in the film. Him and Viggo Mortensen.
Mm-hmm. But since then, they've said that he's contacted the family.
Yeah, Marshala Ali.
Apologized.
He reached out to the family. The family said that Marshala Ali was kind and it was nice to speak with him, and everything's all good.
And he said that he didn't know.
Yeah.
And and plus it was marred a little bit because at one of the premieres, his co-star used the N-word. At the
when he was discussing the film, the character in the film was discussing that time period.
Mm-hmm. So. Then we went to go see another film, which was really underrated at the box office, which was Robin Hood.
Oh yeah, Jamie Foxx, excellent job.
I really think that it was a buddy film, but all of the posters and the displays in the movie theater only showed one person. And I don't think that the way the story was told, it was not a story about one man fighting the whole world. It was two men fighting the corruption of this English sheriff.
Right.
And so they should have really had Jamie Foxx, because Jamie Foxx is actually the bigger star.
Right.
And so they should have had him alongside within the promotion and marketing.
Yeah, they should have. Well, in the trailers, they pushed Jamie Foxx. But then on the poster
and the displays, it was one guy.
So I don't think that was smart.
That wasn't smart. And so, it was supposed to be a vehicle to have sequel. Right. And so the only way that I see that will have a sequel at this point is if the powers that be just push through and ignore the fact that it didn't do as well as it should have at the box office. Right? Then we come to The Front Runner, which was the story of Gary Hart,
starring Hugh Jackman.
Mm-hmm. And what you find out in the film, now there was a story that came out during the summer that didn't catch traction in the media,
Right.
that it actually didn't happen, and that it was all a setup towards him. You have to go watch the review to find out. But that never gained traction, so the movie stands as a historical record of what it was, and really what you find is what they allude to is what they were talking about is not what made him stop his campaign.
Right.
Which was a shocker.
But it was a good movie, and it was entertaining, and it moved from beginning to end. The pacing was great. The political world was just, it's worth seeing, because what stopped his campaign isn't really what you thought it was. So it's definitely worth seeing.
Then we come to going to the theater to see the Wilder versus Fury fight. Right? And, go watch that review, because it's interesting, about boxing. And when you know about boxing, just because a card reads 113 to 115 doesn't mean that the person was ahead by just 2 points. I'll say that. Okay, that's just a scoring thing. That's not exactly how it is. So we'll say that. But people who know boxing and know point systems can see. But that knockdown, though, knockdowns even the score. And even though the ref did a long count, guess what? That's what makes the rematch even greater. And when we get a ref in there that didn't tap if you go back and watch the replay of the in between when the 12th round was coming up, and how the ref goes over to Fury and taps him on his leg, like, great job, you got this, right? Because he was scoring in his head, right? But then the puncher comes out and does what he does. The power puncher comes out and knocks the guy down, and that evens the fight out. And so we should have a rematch. And thank you to the judges who actually saw an American and actually gave it to American. Not like HBO, where HBO, if it was a American who just so happened to be black, they always rooted for the other guy. So, it was a breath of fresh air, and kudos to Showtime. That's why HBO has officially ended. That's one of the reasons, for sure. I
definitely want to add, one of the really, really good films that didn't do too well in the theater, but you've got Netflix, you got cable, Amazon Prime, as well as other outlets, is Superfly. That was a really, really good movie starring Trevor Jackson. You got Jason Mitchell in there from The Chi in the movie Compton. You got Michael Kenneth Williams from The Wire, as well as a host of other films. You have Lex Scott Davis in the film. Big Boy was in the film also. Superfly is an excellent film. Hey,
it is.
It's definitely worth seeing. The soundtrack is amazing. Atlanta, it was the backdrop of the city Atlanta played a major role in the film. The relationship between him and his girlfriend, just Superfly is worth seeing.
Listen.
So definitely see Superfly.
Let's go back. Gordon Park Jr. created Superfly, the first one, directed it. He was the first one to start they say that Rocky did it, but it was not Rocky. Dude came up with the Steadicam format. Hey, what's going on, Lynn? He came up with the Steadicam that for Rocky. But Gordon Park Jr. came up with taking the big knuckle buster camera, and when you watch the original Superfly, and you see those scenes where Ron O'Neal is running through the city and the camera is either tracking and tracking back in front of him or tracking behind him as he's chasing the fiends or whatever. That is high technical value within that film. And then later he died after a horsing accident, which that is very strange to me, that this person would die in a horsing accident, breaks his neck, and he had the future.
Well, I've seen that
him.
before though, so that does.
I mean, it can't happen, but it just seems strange that the message that he was pushing in that film. Most people ignore the real messages of the film. Superfly was an anti-drug film,
right?
Because he was trying to get out, and it was also a western set in a black standpoint, because he rides off in the sunset in his El Dorado.
Well, they could have purposely gave him a really, really wild horse. I mean, a really horse to purposely do that to him.
And on top of that, to know that the original Superfly, it's like, this is why history is repeating itself, and we should break the bonds of history repeating itself. Ron O'Neal was on an interview on Black Reels, and you can see this on YouTube, where he talks about that the president of the NAACP at the time also had a marketing promotion company, and he had put the bid in to market and promote Superfly. He didn't get the bid, so he's the one that coined Blaxploitation. And so when you realize that the term Blaxploitation was coined by the president of the LA chapter of the NAACP at that time to derail Superfly, because he did not get the marketing promotion job for his company to push it, then you realize that that's tainted fruit, and that should totally be ignored, because it was what you call, I don't like using the word urban, but I use that because that's what Ron, it was an urban setting, western, contemporary, where the hero, after getting out the game, rides off in the sunset. He gets out the game, he topples over and defeats the Italian mafia type people who are coming at him, and he gets to ride off into the sunset and win and not get all shot up, kind of like Sweetback's Badass Song by Marvin Van Peebles. Right? It's that, so we have to reevaluate and look at Blaxploitation. Melvin. Right. Superfly 2018
is good.
Is the same. This is the same case in this movie that people decided to down it before they even watched it, and to still have the same mind state as the person who Ron O'Neal said did and coined it Blaxploitation because he couldn't get the marketing budget. Why would you still follow that train of thought and not see this? This movie should have broke
records.
Old Boy out. It should have broke records. It should have broke everybody out.
Same as Idlewild and Belly. Excellent films.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Excellent films.
Yeah, you got to know. Belly
classics
is an art house film.
Right.
It's shot in low key.
Right.
The storyline, and it's about, what's it about? It's about Nas's character trying to get out the game.
Yes.
Every time there's a story where the hero, the black hero, is trying to get out the game.
Like in Superfly 2018.
And Superfly original.
Right.
They down that film.
Right.
They tried to down Sweetback's Badass Song at the time. He went over to France, and that's what blew it up.
Right.
He had to go over to France first, and that's what blew it up.
Right.
But when you see this, and when you realize they try to tell you that hip-hop promoted drug use, but when you really listen to the records, NWA's Dope Man was an anti-drug record. That at the end, you only get the first two verses or first verse because, DJs have to DJ at the party.
Right.
But in actuality, at the end it says, if you get my sister sick with your drugs, I'm putting in your belly a 38 slug. So in the end, you find out what happens to the drug dealer, but you have to listen to the film, to the song all the way
to
through.
Get the positive message.
That's right. So at the time when hip hop was telling you that, drugs were whack,
right,
and don't do it, the media was telling you that it was propagating it, and then you look at it and you say, what's his name? Vice President for for Bush 1.
Was it Gore?
Gore. I mean, no, Quail.
Quail.
Quail gets on and starts talking about the hip hop artist. But who was the hip hop artist he was talking about?
Right.
People like Tupac who had an anti-drug message. But they realized that if that person is able to push that anti-drug message through, the plan that they had with the CIA to spread drugs through the black community to wipe out the black community,
right,
you know, to fund a war, you know, it would defeat the purpose, because they said this is too strong a music and people are following it and getting it. So when you look at why people down things, most of the time when I see people down things, I think they're getting paid off to do it. And if they're not getting paid off to do it, you might as well be getting paid off to do it, because you're just doing things to try to destroy black people who are pushing messages. So make sure that you do see Superfly, that you go on Amazon Prime, Fire Stick, watch that film, get that hit, so it becomes a cult classic later.
Just
because
like
the acting was, if you like Atlanta, you're gonna like this film because the acting was up to that point.
Yeah. Oh, and again, we are live, so you get to be a part of the magic of the green screen.
Yeah, you'll see the green screen on the YouTube version.
Right.
You'll see it with a different background to it.
Yeah, so when you watch this over again, you'll see
like the T-shirt,
the film review in the background.
Yes, you definitely have to see. You definitely have to watch it. Man.
Yeah. You'll enjoy it.
It's
as well
well
as
worth it.
Idlewild. You definitely have to see that.
Wait a minute. We didn't even see Belly. I went off on a tangent. Belly, art house film, beautifully shot, message, I'm getting out the game.
Right.
Idlewild.
Amazing.
Idlewild by Outkast. That should have propelled them, but again, the message in the film is about getting out the game, wanting to move on to something new. Yes, I did this, but now I want to move out. But in between everything, it was a musical,
and it was visually beautiful.
Beautiful.
Like, after seeing that, I would say we would see other films, and I would say, oh, they stole his style. So didn't Hype Williams do?
No, it wasn't Hype Williams. Another guy, but he started the moving pictures.
Hype Williams did Belly, right?
Yeah, Hype Williams did Belly.
Okay.
And what they did was that it was a Disney movie out, and people were getting the tickets for the Disney movie, allegedly. That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
And when we went to go see Belly, we made sure we had the Belly ticket.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the Belly theater was packed.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it was packed.
Yeah, just like Brian Barber, he did Idlewild. And when we saw Idlewild, it was a nice amount of people in the theater too. So it just always made me wonder what's going on with the tickets, because the theater is packed, but then they're saying it didn't do well. So I'm like, did they mess around with the tickets? And I remember during that period, it was a lot of messing around with tickets. Yeah. And they were giving other movie credit.
Idlewild it has everything in it. Right. It's a musical. Yeah. And the talent that it took for Andre and Big Boy and everyone else that's involved in that film to pull that off. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Ving Rhames is in the film. Terrence Howard is in the film. Patti LaBelle. Macy Gray. It was an amazing film.
It's supposed to be a classic. Okay, it's up there with Cabin in the Sky. Yeah, Cabin in the Sky is a musical with Lena Horne.
Right.
I can't. I hate that I'm not remember her name. But it's
Ethel Waters.
Ethel Waters.
Right.
And Rochester.
We're all.
If you have never seen Cabin in the Sky. And actually, Idlewild there's a tradition of black films made, starting with directors like Oscar Micheaux, who is religious themed films where there is a place of repentance and wanting to get out. And these are what Cabin in the Sky is.
Then that's what
about.
Belly is about.
Yeah.
The film Belly because you asked what was that about? It was about repentance as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Starring Nas and DMX.
Yeah, Nas and DMX, but it is, and Method Man was in it.
Method Man was in it. Also,
Good Life was in it.
Wasn't T-Boz in it also?
Yeah, T-Boz was in it.
Excellent
and,
film.
Living My Best Life.
Yep.
What, I can't think of his name right now.
Little
Little
Duval.
Duval. He's in it.
And Belly, and it's called Belly.
Yeah, it's Belly. Film. And it's about, there's a string, there's a line that goes, there's a through line that goes through good black cinema where there is, it's not beating you over the head, but it's that spiritual, it's Big Mama, it's Grandpapa pushing their, because that's what Boys in the Hood, not Boys in the Hood, but Minister to Society.
Yeah.
The Hutland brothers.
Yeah.
That was a religious push with the grandmother and the grandfather pushing, trying to get the grandson to do the right thing. Right. In great black cinema, that is what is being pushed through. Right. But to get the medicine, you have to give the sweetness, which is what people like to see. Right. They like to see the booty shaking. They like to see
a great soundtrack.
They like to see they like to hear a great soundtrack incorporated in film. They like to see the storyline about the streets. They like to see that. And for whenever you see a film down, like Idlewild had all of that in it, and it was a musical, and it had people in it, and it had that through line of Oscar Micheaux, and it came with new optical illusions through moving the images, and he was the first one to do it, moving the images forward as from out of the picture. Now everyone does that.
Excellent soundtrack. Isn't the Outcast that Hey video?
Yeah.
Is from.
Yeah. I mean the whole
it was that double-sided. The double CD. Was the Idlewild.
No. Idlewild was
no,
by
I'm
itself.
Thinking about speaker.
Yeah, you're talking about Speaker Box.
Speaker Box.
And the Love Below.
And the Love Below. I'm thinking about it probably because we played it to death.
Yeah,
because the Idlewild soundtrack is excellent, and played that to death in the store, as well as double speaker. So of course, huge Outkast fans here.
And Outkast, that right there, they cripple. To me, my opinion, they really couldn't cripple them because they are talented, but they purposely, someone crippled them right then to make sure that film didn't go, because they would have took over the game. Right. They would have had musicals. They would have been doing hip hop. They had a great gangster story. Could have had a follow-up film to it. So there's certain films out there that are classics that should be put into the lexicon.
Definitely, Idlewild and Belly.
And the reason why we do this podcast is to let you know you need to go back and view some of the black and white silent films with the words. What you will find is we've been battling the same things for a very long time, and Oscar Micheaux actually documented this in his films. This thing, if you want to hear hooking, drug use, the preacher problem, the race problem. We have been dealing with the same thing for a very long time. When you go back to those films, you say, damn, that film is saying the same thing that's happening today. And the last poets from the late 60s, early 70s said the revolution will not be televised. And you see what they were talking about in that record is still what we're talking about today, which means that we have to go back, learn the history. We don't want to go back all the way back to slavery. All we have to do is start with Oscar Micheaux films, and that's right after Emancipation Proclamation, about maybe 30 years after, where the issues are there. Booker T. Washington is on the scene. W.E.B. Du Bois is on the scene. Marcus Garvey is on the scene during that time when those films are shot, and those things are referenced in the film, and you find out that what we go through today is still going on because we chose kumbaya instead of staying on task. That's what you find in the film. So Idlewild, classic. What you gonna say?
The Spy Who Dumped Me. I don't think we mentioned that, but we saw that this summer, and it's definitely a great film to see for 2018.
Yeah, so the spy.
It is hilarious. It'll have you laughing from beginning to end. So
yeah, because on the list I'm looking at, when you go to lordlandfilms.com on Facebook, I did a brief list. I mean, because it's extensive, but I didn't put all the films in we've seen. But The Spy Who Dumped Me is definitely a great film. So now we review Meek Mill's Champion.
Right.
Great album.
Yeah, his album was a good album.
This is the through line that we talk about. This is what people have to forget about what you perceive to see in a movie and look at the through line on it. Jay-Z delivers, I don't know how many bars it is, but he delivers this verse with him. It's Rick Ross and Meek Mill on the track, and he's delivering this through line of what we have gone through in this country, and it is a throwback to Oscar Micheaux, to The Last Poets, to Gil Scott-Heron, to all of the Nikki Giovanni. I mean, if you're a black person and you don't know these names, there's no need to worry about having any shame about not knowing it, because the media is not going to do it. You have to do the research to be able to know these things, so that you won't fall into the traps that they have set you up to do. What's the name of the
film that you're talking? I mean, the song that you're talking about is called "What's Free" on the Meek Mill album Championship, featuring Jay-Z and Rick Ross.
That's right, What's Free. Listen to that verse. Listen to all three verses, because they hit it from three different vantage points, but Jay-Z brings it home with
as always.
So we want to say that, and he's delivering a through line. And whenever a group of people deliver a through line, I keep saying that, so I say a through line is something that starts at the beginning of page 1 in the script and pushes through. It's the main theme of the film, and it pushes all the way through. And so you can see a through line that goes from the beginning of all this all the way through to now. There's a through line that people who are pushing a message put in movies, and the movies that we mentioned to you are from Oscar Micheaux. Matter of fact, I will even throw Dolomite films in there, Rudy Ray Moore films in there. People say that Rudy Ray Moore was a clown, but when you watch his films, there's a through line that comes back from Oscar Micheaux about overcoming and beating the man at the game that he has you subject in.
He was a great independent filmmaker, Dolomite.
Around the corner.
Because if he wasn't, Eddie Murphy wouldn't be making a story about him on Netflix. So clearly,
and I can't wait
so
we
great.
can watch that, because
be
Eddie Murphy is a 60-year-old man. That just goes to show you what good
taking care of yourself.
Here's a 60-year-old man who is playing a 40-year-old man when he made Dolomite. He was 40 years old. He already had his chops. That's also a through line of great entertainers, that they keep themselves in shape, but it takes so long for them to come from off the chitlin circuit because of the way the system is made. But by the time they get there, they have their chops down. Their timing is there. They know what makes people laugh, and so that's what it is. So here's a 60-year-old.
And you met Dolomite.
Yeah, I met Dolomite. He came into the store when I was selling tickets. He was having they were doing a show, and he came, and
he had a great personality.
He had a great personality. I didn't have my cameras. I wasn't doing my camera filming then, or I would have got an interview with him. But he told me I had a beautiful store, and I said thank you. And he was talking some of the times, because he came from Akron, but he got his chops with Caldonia. Who Caldonia was a 60-year-old woman who had a body of a woman that was 25. And under the lights, my mother told me this, that under the lights, you couldn't tell how old she was until she came off, because her face showed you her age. But in the cage and under the lights, you couldn't tell how old she was. And then B.B. King has a song, Caledonia.
Yeah, named after
Caledonia. Right. So, and this is Cleveland, Ohio.
Right.
Because Cleveland, Ohio was an entertainment mecca at one time, and it's full of people who can put it down and entertain. And it's just the powers that be. That's what I say. So let's move on. We'll talk about that on another
Leon's
day.
60. I know Eddie Murphy. He looks really good.
Looks good. Looks good. Now, see how this is a through line. This is what you find with us. This is Black liberation is a through line on this podcast. Right. The film review, movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. That's right. The land. The anti-black attack on Kevin Hart at the hands of LGBT. Well, I mean that's 60.
Yeah, he's 57.
But that's 60.
Yeah.
I mean that's what you're saying. Because when they did the review, they said 60.
Yeah, they said 60.
They said 60. So I go by. So he's 57, but that's 60 though. I mean, let's not beat hairs. Let's not.
Well, 60 is the new 50.
60 is the new 40 because he's playing a 40-year-old man.
Oh, well, it is the new 40 because he is playing a 40-year-old.
That's right. Incredible. But anyway, the anti-black attack on Kevin Hart at the hands of the LGBTQ. Now, we talked about this on a podcast that Coretta Scott King pushed for the amendment to the Civil Rights Act back in 83, 85, to make sure that the LGBTQ were included in to the civil rights to make sure that they're protected. And how you could then go and try to derail a man's career for his opinions, his comedy, his jokes. And he is a person that embodies what the civil rights fight was about, and he's in there breaking glass ceilings and knocking down doors to make sure that when he's there, other people come through.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you understand that, right? That he is the embodiment of what the civil rights movement was. People weren't, last time I knew, LGBTQ people do not get water hose put on them because they're that. Because they are LGBTQ. LGBTQ don't get lynched.
And the police doesn't pull them over and say, wait a minute.
They don't get lynched, drawn, quartered, body parts cut off, knuckles, as W.E.B. Du Bois talks about in one of his books. Being in the butcher shop, you don't have pictures of people on the doors talking about they pay $200 for a pound of nigger ears.
Wait a minute, unless you're a black LGBTQ.
No, but that's what it is. So black LGBTQ.
Right.
I like people like James Baldwin, who was black first. Right. He said that he was open about who he was, but he was black first. Right. So when you see that, you have to stay with that. So for them to then go after someone who embodies the civil rights struggle in Kevin Hart, it's just plain old wrong, especially when you know that Coretta Scott King pushed so that you would be protected, so you wouldn't get your bars raided. Right. That's probably the worst they did. They didn't put water hose, they didn't draw and quarter you, they didn't lynch you, they didn't cut your genitalia off, they didn't cut your body parts off and sell them, they didn't make lampshades out of your skin, they didn't eat you. They haven't done that.
So all of this stuff,
so I mean, it's vicious. This is vicious to black people. Yeah. That's why there was the Green Book, so that people could avoid being drawn and quartered, lynched, genitalia
so you can know which
off.
Hotels to go to.
That's right.
You know, restaurants.
Being ate for dinner. Right. This is savage stuff here. Right. And every time there's a person that comes on, Sarnetta, and when he's out there in Harlem on 125th, when he shows,
he has a great
he has a great
podcast.
platform. When he is out there and he shows the white folks, because they don't teach them their history. They don't teach white folks their history. Like we have to go out and research it for ourselves, and we research it and we pass it on to our people. And those who from their group of people who watch, they watch and they learn something. But when he shows them what they've done, they get on their knees and they kiss his feet. Because if they knew what they did, they wouldn't be calling black people the black males dangerous. They would say we are some of the most dangerous people on the planet and we need to be stopped. That's what they would be saying. You know what I mean? Moving it just a little bit this way. There we go. Okay, so let's see. So, stop with the attacks on black people who embody and the woman. Have loyalty to Coretta Scott King and then lighten up. Because if people can't joke,
everybody jokes.
Everybody gets jokes about each other, and they joke about us all the time. And they say, well, all people get abused. That's what this one woman told me. All people get abused. I say, no, they don't. Not like what we did, but you don't know the history because they didn't teach it. But this is what's happening, and all you have to do now is so easy. All you got to do is just Google it. Back in the 90s, we had to go to the library, and at Warrensville Library at the time, there was a black librarian lady there, and she had Farrakhan tapes. And when I graduated from Trinity High School, and when I was going there, I had never met up with whites because I came through the whole black school system. But when I got there, I said something's wrong, and everything that I was thinking, Farrakhan had it right there on those tapes, and she had it, and the library was filled with, just like our classrooms at the time, filled with black memorabilia, black books, all that. And then when you get to, but what the trick was, when you got to the later classes, then you would get 5th grade, 6th grade, you would get white teachers. And then the whole thing changed. It was getting you indoctrinated to move on into junior high school where there would be more white teachers. And they're not teaching you that. And you had some black teachers and they would get through, but for the most part you get white teachers. Then when I got to Trinity, I said, hey man, I had all this love, from where I was at. And then, something wrong with these people. They practice, they're Polish in particular. And anybody knows, the sports people, they tell you that the Polish people, they spit on you over there, and they are some of the most racist by what, by reports. I only go by what people say. And so I was like, something's wrong with these people, because you're practicing, you're talking about being Catholic and Christian and all that, but your actions don't, really do that. So, we learn and we go on, and that's what we learn, and then from there, that's what woke me up. Black people have to be put into a situation where they are around majority whites, and whites have not changed their stripes since Oscar Micheaux movies. I can tell you. Okay, so let's move on. So then we come to, see this through line, then we come to Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse, into the Spider-Verse, where we are introduced to the first black Spider-Man, Miles Morales. This film, we put this film up with Panther. Everyone needs to go see this film because there's no white savior in this film. Miles Morales teaches him.
Oh, Caleb said my son loved it. Oh, great. Good.
There is no white savior in this film. Miles Morales teaches himself how to be his brand of Spider-Man, and that's what we're going to say about that, because you have to see this film. It should have been lauded up there with Panther, and the way that they give homage to Stan Lee. Stan Lee is on camera in the film longer than he's ever been in any other Marvel's film, as this time as a cartoon. but you forget that you're watching an
Cartoon,
animated film.
Right. It's like watching a movie.
That's right. So, salute to them, and I hope that, because they said that they're going to be turning it over to another director. I forget what they said that he directed, but I hope that they stay with the same formula and don't coon him up or dumb him down or keep him the same, keep him self-reliant.
Yeah, self-reliant. He's a teenager, and it's such a good film. And like I said, for people of all ages, because when we went to see it, it was like late at night, and it was nothing but all adults in the audience just cracking up.
And then here they have a bar, and people have food, cooked food, and bar, and when you go in there, and everybody was having a good time. And the film got a clap at the end.
Yeah, standing ovation.
Yeah. So again, let us tell you what you're watching. You're watching the recap for the film review, the husband and wife team.
Yep.
That's right. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracey.
And we review culture and movies, music, politics,
and whatever comes to
mind, and of course society.
And so, again, you're seeing the live broadcast with our green screen.
That's right.
And when you watch the replay, you will see our movie magic. So instead of the green screen, you'll see the film review as well as other things floating around behind us.
How do you like the lighting, people? We're bringing the lighting and we're making it 7. I have like a 3-to-1 going on here, and then my wife, she's the star, so she's got that nice full angelic shining there. So let's move on. The last thing that we're going to talk about before we get on to what's happening in 2019. What you got to say?
Did you cover? We cover Ice Cube.
No, that's the last one.
Oh, okay.
We are on the see how that is. See, that's 29 years of being together.
Right.
Well, it's 28 right now. 29 next year.
That's nice.
It'll be
husband and wife team. So happy to see y'all. Thank you.
Happy
to see y'all too.
Yeah.
Happy to see you.
Watching us.
Kayla,
and communicating with you.
Yes.
Ice Cube's Everything's Corrupt.
Yeah, excellent CD with the message, of course.
That's right. And if you have not seen that, listen, that new Funkadelic.
Yeah.
That beats.
Yeah.
That beats.
Yeah.
That is a beating song. And then when he does what's it? Black cop, white cop, good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Where he tells the black cops they need to start turning in the bad white cops, or the good cops need to turn in the bad cops. You really need to start turning them in. You know what I mean? That's like moving ahead from fuck the police to now coming from a different age, but still on the same thing, but advanced more because you've learned more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not just that 15-year-old. But we love hearing what 15-year-olds have to say, because 15-year-olds are the next generation coming in to fight this battle.
Before we head into the future and talk about future films, we also covered Queen CD, Nicki Minaj.
Mm-hmm.
Her lyrical play is great. Great CD, a combination. She also has like this one song that has a reggae feel. So you have a mixture of everything on her album. Another great album we covered was we talked about the Black Panther soundtrack, which for me was the #1 movie this year. But the soundtrack was excellent, done by Kendrick Lamar. So just excellent CD. So if you get a chance, check out the Black Panther. I mean, it's just like a combination of everything. So you have like the hip hop, you have like the African vibe, you have some R&B on there. Just an excellent CD. Kendrick Lamar, of course, is on the CD, as well as he put like a lot of other artists from all across the world on the CD, and Kendrick Lamar did a good job putting that CD together. He produced the CD, executive produced.
Have you seen our ad, people? Let me see what it says. Have you seen our ad? Yes, that is our ad where we show you various bits and pieces of what's going on with the film review. So you can see that on Instagram, Crazy D Film Dude. Make sure you join right there, and we show you bits and pieces of what we're doing. You know what I mean? We go through because we've covered quite a bit. Now, let's talk about some politics for a minute. If we don't watch out, people.
Dream Team.
Oh, okay.
Kayla.
Okay,
yeah, that's right. Liam, yep, that's part of our...
Yeah, the Soul Train is coming because we did the Bobby Brown.
We did the Bobby Brown.
So we definitely going to be
Soul
there.
Train,
See,
February 2019.
Don Cornelius. Soul Train, the hippest. What is that in America? The hippest. I forget the middle word in America.
The hippest is a trip.
The hippest trip in America. Right. That's right.
And then Kayla says, oh, she loved her. Oh, Kayla says Team Nikki. Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah, right. You must be about lyrics, because if you're all about lyrics, Nicki Minaj has lyrical skills. So if you're about lyrics,
okay, so
you're on the right team.
So let's talk about some politics real quick before we get on to the future 2019.
Okay.
If we don't watch out, people, Trump is going to be reelected. Look, hey, let's break down what they're not showing.
Because you know those darn gone people gonna put him in office again.
Just a little bit this way. We were just sitting at a table having lunch, and they said that about 18% of black males have been voting Republican, and about 13% voted for Trump before, but about 18% of black men have voted for the different Trump allied Republicans.
Yeah, right? You're right, Liam. 45.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm projecting that about 25% of black males are going to be voting for Trump.
You think so?
I believe, and I'm going to tell you why.
Kayla says, "Vote no to Trump." That's
okay,
right.
So this is
and yeah, we all know this, but the problem is those same people who put him in office, they're gonna put him in office again.
Listen.
It's crazy.
This is why they're gonna. We're gonna cover what they don't show you on the news. First, let's do an overview of what they show you on the news.
Okay.
They basically did the same thing that they did in 15 when he came down the escalator. They ridiculed him and they laugh and they say that he's a joke. He's a joke. He doesn't know what he's doing. He suffers from dementia. He listens to everything Fox News says. Boom. Okay, so that's basically what they say. They never cover what's being happened. They never show you how certain bills are being passed. How if you're against, let's look at this. Let's look at the Democrats real close, real quick. If you're really against a person, you're not going to go with them or anything. They came up with the crime bill. First of all black males and all black females and all black men, all black women, all black little boys, all black little girls are not criminal. So the criminal bill, the criminal reform bill they came out with doesn't have anything to do with us. But somehow they make that synonymous with black people only when white folks are still the majority in this country, which means they still do more crime. Disproportionately by our population, there is more crime. Disproportionately, but by just demographic, there are more Caucasians doing crime than black people are doing crime.
Lynn said no. Lynn said he will be impeached. Yeah, we will see.
Okay. We're gonna see. We're gonna run through all that. That's good. I'm glad. Let's hope. Okay. Let's put a pin right there for a minute. Now, so they have ridiculed him through all of this, right? Look at the gas prices. Gas is coming down. Gas started coming down in the summertime. Okay? Gas is coming down, which means people's pocketbooks are being less drained just from gas purposes. Trump, the Republicans, since we've been watching, this goes back to Clinton. Clinton was the first president that I voted for. When I was able to register and vote for was Clinton, right? Mm-hmm. The Republicans are better at messaging the people than the Democrats are. So let's take the wall situation for instance. This is why I'm saying that more people are going to vote. Let's take gas. Let's put gas prices there for a minute. They're coming down. They're coming down now. When Obama left, gas was about like $2.41 a gallon here in Las Vegas. I'm sure it was cheaper in other places, and however it was out in California. California kind of tracks with us, right? We're in Nevada, and it kind of tracks with us about the same. So, but back east, gas is a little bit lower, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so gas is coming down. Then you take on the fact that
Nancy said I just paid $2.45.
Okay. So it's tracking about the same, right? And it's gonna come down, right? Because ours is right now it's at $2.99. We're at $2.99, so it's coming down. It's going down the other way. All right. Then you go into the messaging on the wall. I am predicting that the Democrats are going to cave. Wanna know why? Because not only is the conservative media, Fox News with the MSNBC. This is how the media does it. Right. Media acts like they're on the side of the Democrats, right? But then they start putting into the media, will the Democrats be able to hold? That's the first thing. Any debate that's going on about policy, will the Democrats be able to hold? That's the first thing that they say. The next thing you know, there's people on the Democrat side that say, maybe we should go for it. Then they say, there's people on the Democrat side say we shouldn't go for it, right? Then that starts the argument amongst the Democrats. Then the Democrats get weak. Then the Democrats fold. Now here's what's going to happen. He's not going to get the 5 million, but he's going to get about 3, closer to 4 million, and that's going to be a defeat at the hands of the Democrats because they're going to be pressured because the people are out of work in this so-called partial shutdown, right? That's another thing. So that makes it, the messaging is better. And Trump says, the Democrats said he's doing this to keep the immigrants out. What do Americans care about immigrants who are not American citizens? Not much. But Trump says this is border security for America. That is a better message, which is pushing through to his people. Now, as far as Fox News, and they say they follow Fox News sends him signals about what the conservative people are thinking, and and he takes it, and then he says, okay, he sits with his people who have strategized, and they push it through. Now, take what the liberal media, MSNBC, does. They will tell you that during this time, during Nixon, just before Nixon was impeached, this and that happens. If I'm Trump's team, all I'm gonna do is say thank you for that history lesson. I'm gonna subvert that, go around it, go under it. So low you can't get under it, so high you can't get it. Somewhere I'm gonna get around it, under it, over it, yada yada, right? So some way I'm gonna get around it. Thanks for that history lesson. And every time that's what they do. So for people who are waiting on it, and this is the last point on it. There are Democrats who would not go along. They wouldn't even admit that they voted for the health care bill when President Obama was in there. Yeah. The perfect example of how the Republicans messaged Obamacare the whole time. Most of the whites who go along with it, and some of the blacks who go along with it, don't even realize that it was the Affordable Care Act. And they voted against their own best interest,
which is crazy. And what pissed me off is when Obama was in office, all of the Democrats, in the House of Representatives as well as the Senate, those that were against President Obama, the ones that are called the Blue Dog Democrats, and they were against President Obama. Mm-hmm. I mean, which pissed me off. And the thing is that the Republicans, they, no matter what, stick together. You know, they'll sit and say, oh, well, Trump shouldn't have did it. But they stick with Trump, right?
They stick with him.
But the Democrats did not stick with Obama, which really pissed me off.
Because what you have to realize is the Democrats, some of them hold the same views that they did when they were the Dixiecrats.
Right, because Obama's black, exactly. That's why they didn't stick with
I really stopped saying that, because Lynn, that's like us putting it as if it's a problem with us when it's a problem with them. I say that they didn't go along with President Obama because they're white. And so that's what it is. You have to flip it and change the language. It's something. There's some kind of defect there
with them
because they can't work along with people unless they look like them.
Right.
And then they kill each other up using drugs and things because they can't get along. They feel in doldrums when they're around each other. They feel like nothing. And so they got to have the music and they got to have the clothes that come from another culture. But that's a whole nother point there. But so it's because they're white is why they didn't work along with it. So when you see that, that's why Trump is going to be reelected, because 25% of males, the black women, you know, and plus, you know, they're going to bring Hillary back for strike 3. You know. Three strikes.
I say Michelle's running for office. Just my opinion. I might be wrong.
I say that the Democrats are going to shoot themselves in the foot because they got so many people running. So many people will say they're throwing their hats in the ring to run, and I think they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. For goodness sakes, they say Joe Biden. I thought Joe Biden was the Gav King.
They used to make fun
of him, but now all of a sudden he's at the top of the rung.
Right.
People don't like to see black
charge.
people
That's true.
But because they have a problem.
Right.
They have a problem. They're in fear of being genetically annihilated when really the environment is taking care of that.
Jesus came knocking on their door. They slammed the door on his face.
Matter of fact,
because they be like, who is this black man at my door? They slammed the door.
They say there was a calm. There's a calm before the storm. Obama was a calm for the storm, and they failed miserably. Obama wasn't black people's savior. Right. He didn't do anything for black people. He did trickle down economics. Healthcare is trickled down for us.
Right.
He didn't do anything. He did stuff for the LGBTQ.
Right.
He did stuff for the dreamers.
Right.
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 But he didn't do an executive. Hey, sign an executive order for us for something. Free education for reparations.
Right.
Something, but he didn't do that. So that's what it was.
Right.
And he was their savior, not ours. And they failed miserably. Like if Jesus came back and Jesus was what he is, feet burnt like brass, and woolly hair
like lamb's wool. The
right.
description is in the Bible.
They would fail miserably, and they would be in the abyss for sure.
Okay, so have we wrapped up 2018?
Yeah. We wrapped up 2018. Okay. I need you to move closer because they need to see your pretty face unadulterated by this side up here. Okay, so that was 2018.
Right, so
and
moving ahead.
Now we're going into 2019.
2019.
Okay, I've got my list here.
Right.
Listen, we get to see what's happening in 2019 with the Avengers called Endgame. April 2019, the Avengers come back. We get to see if Panthers coming back.
I haven't seen that yet.
What's that?
She said a video about the Constitution. I haven't seen that yet. Have you seen?
Wait a minute. The Constitution. About the Constitution not being actually everything in the Constitution is actually against black people. Actually, like when they're talking about it, it's not. But you know what? I was watching. I forget who the person was, but this was back in the '60s, and they have this up on YouTube, and they said that the Constitution wasn't written for us, but we take the Constitution on because we are the ones who built this country, who fought in every single war in this country, and who are not immigrants, but who were brought here.
Right.
Some of us were already here.
Some of us were already here.
And we...
Native black.
That's right. And we did...
Americans, the actual true Native Americans.
That's right. We did everything that was possible. We fought ever since Crispus Attucks.
Right.
And we have fought every war, and we built the country.
Right.
And so we take the Constitution on as our own, even though they weren't speaking about us. And the first thing that the Congressional Black Caucus should do is get rid of the 3/5 compromise. Excuse me. Eradicate that, but I think some people are too worried about sitting and having lunch.
Right.
I think that's what it is. Okay,
before you go into your film review, is there anything, your trailer review 2019, right? Forging Ahead. Is there anything you're looking forward to in 2019? One music wise and the other in film, because I already have two in mind.
Oh, music wise. What do I look forward to? Well, you know, I'm so engrossed in film right now that I haven't been like staying with the music. You keep me up on the music. Isn't that funny? I owned a store for 15 years, a CD DVD store for 15 years, and now my wife keeps me up on the music more than me because I'm more into film. What I'm looking forward to, musically, I'm really looking forward to the Migos and Bone Thugs and Harmony battle.
Okay, film.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Cleveland.
So the music battle you're talking about.
I'm looking forward to that smack. That smack that's gonna happen.
Kayla says the land 216. So we see she's riding with Bone.
I'm waiting on that smack. You know what I mean? That's one thing. That's one thing I'm looking forward to.
Kayla, she's torn. She's riding with Bone. She's riding with Migos because
no, she's riding with Nicki Minaj.
Well, yeah, but see, she has the land because we just talked about the Bone.
Right.
And then she's also riding with, she's torn because Migos DJ is our hometown boy.
That's right, DJ Darrell,
who we love and we saw grow up.
No. Let's break down from what I saw.
Right.
L Dog.
Who's a great DJ.
DJ L Dog.
Who did our wedding.
Yes, he did the wedding.
He did the wedding.
Because we had Scratchmaster L, who has his new mix CD out. Yes. Everybody go pick up that new remix CD. He did our reception. Right. And you know, we've been together 28 years. We're going to be 29.
Hi, Nikki.
29 next year. And listen, we had an all, no limit.
And it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't done on purpose.
See, what happened was, I look ahead. I'm a person that's a visionary. People tell me I stay humble, but thank you, Nikki. But I had the two DJ concept set up where I was going to have two DJs side by side. One of the DJs didn't fall through. He fell through. He didn't show up. He sold out. Which left me with Scratchmaster L. But see, Scratchmaster L is an animal on the wheels. He just destroys. So maybe that's why the other DJ. I should have had L Dog.
Yeah, because originally I had wanted, because we were going to do the two DJs, because like you said, the record store in the history, because you're a DJ. Mm-hmm. And so Scratchmaster L and L Dog, I wanted for the reception, right? Mm-hmm. But we wanted him at the wedding too. So we were saying that it would be too much for him to try to hurry up and set up, do the wedding, then go to the reception.
Probably it wouldn't have been. Right? And then, so I had the one DJ set up to have all the old school, the Al Green for the good times. Okay. And
thank you, Lynn.
All that.
Was beautiful.
Yeah. And so, you know, we had all that. You know, I had the one DJ.
Oh, Kayla was there too.
Yeah,
oh,
she was there. She was the flower girl. That's it. But anyway, so we were set up. So I had it set up where they had the one DJ do the old school. But see, Scratchmaster L can do it all, and L Dog can do it all. Also. But L Dog was there, and L Dog did the, you know, because that was the first wedding reception I have seen where we had a DJ. Usually they have a band. I'm talking about at the wedding.
Okay. Oh yeah, it was an actual DJ,
at the wedding, and then he played some music underneath as people were receptioning, as they were taking pictures with us afterwards. We were at the Botanical Gardens on 82nd and what's that, Superior?
Yeah.
Off of Superior. Yeah, we went down there, and so I said, but L Dog would have been able to do it anyway. But I was doing all the people who I knew, who I had contact with in the time. There was a lot of DJs I could have got. I could have got Fatty Banks to do it. Could have got, different people, but I was mixing it up because I was going to people who I knew. Right. And all three DJs I knew, but the one person sold out. So what's his name was there, and all he brought was that, and we rocked out.
It was a no limit.
That's right. It was a no limit.
Everybody danced from beginning to end, and this was like the early no limit. This was when it was hot, like
bada.
The bada, and then the Mesticals and the just
Yeah. So it was good, but so that just goes to show you. That just goes to show you that it doesn't matter what type of music you listen to.
Right.
That what binds is the understanding and the overstanding amongst the couple, and
Nikki said her favorite rapper is Master P.
Okay, there you go, Master. And see, anybody who thinks that Master P can't rap, there was people who said they missed out because Master P was flowing on Ghetto D.
Yeah,
that whole album.
Yeah.
Make them clap like this. That was the cassette. I'm talking about cassettes. But anyway, let's keep going. I'm getting pumped on that because I used to sell mixtapes out in the park. Right. I used to do 110-minute mixtapes, 55 minutes per side, but they were actually 57 because Maxell would make them go a little bit longer. And I would every week I would have 2 new mixtapes ready to go. Moving them fast, going out to Gordon Park and Woodhill and all that, and Master P and all that. Those were the songs that moved the people. And I remember driving down MLK in front of Adams and seeing people hanging out the window. I remember going out to the park when Master P came to the park, and the sound man having to hold the speakers when Boddick came on because he was bouncing. His crew was bouncing. The stage was bouncing. The speakers was bouncing. The audience was bouncing. Anybody who missed that, it's just like when we went on the Shorty Low tour and we filmed that for Schoolhouse.
Yeah.
And we filmed that whole tour for sure. Rest in peace, Shorty Low.
Yeah.
We went there to see, and we went through 5 cities within the Midwest market, and to see Shorty Low get up there in the audience in Toledo. I mean, dude was doing chin-ups on the pipe, on the water pipe in this club. Okay, Coyote Joe's, I think it was. But to see that and to have that in a documentary, and the people had a footage, they need to get that together and put that out there, because we went through 5 cities. You know what I mean? And then Cleveland made the 6th city because we started in Cleveland and we moved. But anyway, I'm going around. But to see the explosion of how music moves the people, and actually having an understanding of being within it and an understanding of what it actually means, and the spiritual feeling that you get from the crowd moving in unison as one is what they want to destroy.
And speaking of that, Latif, brought a lot of great acts to
He
the
sure
city.
did.
A
Yes,
lot
he
of
did.
great acts.
Yes, he
Black
did.
promoter, he did an excellent job.
Yes, he did. Yes,
So
he
how
did.
did we got there because you talked about, now see, I asked you what was you looking forward to, and then so
That's
that's
the
how
Battle
we
of
got
Cleveland.
into the Cleveland.
Right.
And because with Kayla, we were saying how she's 216, she says the land, which is Bone, but then also Migos DJ Darrell is also from
That's right,
Cleveland,
and they said that's how we got there, because we talk about L Dog. That was giving you the preface of the history of L Dog.
L Dog is Darrell's father. Yeah,
pushed for his son.
Yeah, he was
would put little dude,
on
and
the
then we
tables.
saw him come up, and he would push, and he would put him in front of different people.
Yeah.
I don't really know, because we then, after we finished our retail run,
right,
we came out here for film because I won the Civil Rights Award out here and won the pick, the curators
film pick,
at
Hollywood.
in Hollywood. So we moved out here,
right?
And so I don't know
the
exactly.
last time we saw him is when he was little, and
we saw him about 15, 16.
Is that when he was in? How old was he when he was in the store DJing?
That he was about maybe 13.
13,
and he could get down then. He is a beast
now
on the wheels,
and even then he was.
Let me just tell you people about Cleveland DJs. Period.
Right.
Underrated because I don't know what it is. I personally believe it's a conspiracy because we have MCs in our city, but we are a DJ
city. That's what I call it. It runs through like the blood.
It runs through the
DJs
blood and
are
the veins.
hot.
Shout out to Dean, the
Remixes.
Music Machine, for having club style. That's what brought hip hop to Cleveland, 78, 79.
Right.
That's what brought it there. And
right.
the DJ is king, and
right.
the DJ constantly makes that. And for some reason, unlike like someplace in Texas where the Texas MCs realized that the DJ
mm-hmm.
was important and get on the DJ mixes, our MCs, to me, seem to do it alone, but they're still just as dope. But
right.
they don't connect with the DJ and put out a DJ tape where they're actually flowing. So
right.
the DJ gets out there, takes music, changes it up, right. makes it brand new, and puts it out there for the masses. And make sure you get the Scratchmaster L mixtape, all the mixtapes. Anybody that I mentioned, you make sure you order their mixtape long distance, and you will be jamming because they still put it out on physical copies that you can have and value, as well as the streaming.
What I loved about it is with the DJs when they put out their at the time remixes. It was tapes and stuff, their remixes from the tapes to the CDs. Mm-hmm. People would hear it and they would come back and say, "Oh, I heard a song by such and such artist. Do you have his album?" So it's just like I never really knew if the industry really respected like the mixtapes and the mix CDs, because what it did was
in Cleveland in particular,
what it did was it drew attention to other artists that people may have not known about. They'll come in and they'll say, "Hey, I heard a song on such and such's mix, and I want his CD or I want her CD." So then they will come in, come back and get, let's say, Maxwell's full CD, mm-hmm. or let's say, Alicia Keys.
Yeah, Alicia Keys. But you see, what makes DJ mixing from Cleveland, the CDs and the remix things, is it's totally remixed.
Right.
It's not
just a song,
just playing a song saying new shit.
No.
New shit. You know what I'm saying? No, it's remixed, and then the people say, "Oh, I like the remix. I'm gonna go try that album."
Right.
And we were a sound scan.
Yeah, because they hear it. Right.
So automatically that's hitting, and so that's what it was, and that's what the value of the Cleveland DJ.
So around the board,
because it's not just playing records, it's remixing.
Yeah, it wasn't just the compilation. It's actually taking the vocals of this artist
or however you do it, or dropping 3 to 4 beats together and syncing them and
art.
Making new construction on beat construction.
Right, so, it's art.
So that's
it takes a lot of
that's what we're talking about. So
to be a DJ, a real DJ.
Back to the battle that we're talking about. DJ Darrell is Migos DJ,
right?
And it's a rock and a hard place, but I'll leave that alone because, you know, whether you lie, I know that Cleveland is a city that we love to hate what we love. We love you, but we might rob you. But that's a whole nother story. So what am I looking for as far as film is concerned?
Yeah, but before you say that, I definitely want to add that fast forward till today, the labels are putting out big CDs. So it's like,
or you will hear an artist like Kanye. To me, early Kanye, where you'll hear him rapping and you will hear the vocal of the sample he's using, and you hear the track and you hear the vocal also going from the original artist, and he's rapping over that. That was a style that Cleveland perfected first, where you would hear the other vocal, and the DJ that actually did that who actually brought that to the total forefront was DJ Skills.
Right.
He actually would take
DJ,
because you couldn't
DJ.
find the instrumental, so you would just loop the part that you wanted to use, and it would have the vocal on it. Then you had the other rapper, the other song rapping over it, and it blended together smooth. And then you hear those techniques later in released music, like Kanye did.
But then see, Cleveland, Midwest, just like Kanye is from the Midwest, so he could have possibly.
I mean, it could have came through and heard it, because all that was going around during the
all the
boom
independent
time,
stores,
and all the independent stores was
around.
going through, and that's what was happening. Then Screw came in, and we had been doing the slow mixes, putting the hip hop beats. Matter of fact, you can go right onto the Crazy on Dion page and click the Slow Jam mix CD that I have up there. It's on Mixcloud, and you can listen to the style that you know I did using hip hop beats with slow jam, slowed down hip hop beats. This is before Screw got big, where they were dragging the record. We were slowing down beats and mixing them with R&B. You know, but you know, people didn't click onto it. You know, I mean, people loved it. The cult following loved it, who loved it, because there were a few DJs that did it, but they didn't catch it. But the people who were in the city who loved to hate what they loved, they started following once Screw came out with the chopping, and we had been doing chopping for years. But anyway,
well, it's possible that a lot of that stuff was her, because you remember Source Magazine did an article on your story when they did the various cities, hot cities with hot record stores.
And I remember,
and then they could have possibly
and I remember when one of the some of the people brought their people in from Tennessee, and they took some of the slow mixes back, and then next thing I know, I get a phone call a year later from a DJ from Tennessee who was doing some mixing, and it was slow. I said, yeah, send it in, let me hear it. And he was doing slow mixing with
And what about China? The guy that would come in like once a year?
Yeah, they would come. No, China. That was Japan.
Japan. Okay.
And they would come in and get music. So the music is out there. The music went all over, but it was just, you know, organization. You know, but anyway, so that's what we're saying about Darrell, and so we did that. So we shout out to L Dog, because I don't know how that story went after we left, but he always pushed for his son. All right. So as far as movies are concerned, I'm looking forward to all of the new black films that are coming out this year, because we review it all, because you know we're authentically black, because just us as our presence going to see films and then reviewing, and just like how we did Operation Finale, and we found out that they somehow put a racist trope in about black people in that film, and it's a film about the Holocaust.
Yeah, but we talked about that.
I don't know, but I'm just saying that's just another example of how we authentically we go see these movies, and we're able to come back and tell you what they're feeding to the still minority around the world.
There's lots of things that I'm looking forward to, but in particular, I'm looking forward to Solange's CD. Because her last CD was nice, so I'm looking forward to her new CD. And then I'm a history buff, especially Black history, so I am looking forward to Hidden Colors 5, Tariq Nasheed. So as well as a host of other films, as well as we'll get into the Us.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Listen, we were getting ready to talk about the Avengers Endgame, and we want to see if Panther comes back. That's April 2019. It seems like it starts from the trailer. It seems like it's starting 4 days later. It starts with Iron Man in the trailer, and so we'll see how that goes. Then, State Like Sleep seems like an interesting.
Good night. Leon said, "Have to go back to work. I will catch up on those movies." Yes, Leon. Catch up on those movies.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
And let's see. State Like Sleep seems like it's going to be a great movie. It seems like it's going to be a thriller.
Yeah.
A thriller. So that's one. Captive State.
Oh, she gave us hers. We love you too.
Captive State, March 2019. Let's see, who else? What are we else?
I don't know if it's on your list, but Lion King, I forget. It's gonna be a film, and then it's gonna
Live
be
action, yeah.
live action, and then I know like what Beyonce is gonna be one of the voices in it. Will Smith is gonna be in Aladdin. Looking forward to that.
The film that's out already that we're probably gonna get to review or
Right.
see it is Watson and Holmes.
Right.
That's interesting.
Right.
Coming up off of what Iron Man did with it for those couple of films that they did. So to take it to more of a comedy piece where they almost kill the Queen.
Yeah.
God save the Queen.
Yeah. Will Ferrell is hilarious, so that should be good. And definitely looking forward to if Bill Street could talk based on James Baldwin's book.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Now, Glass with Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, Bruce
Looking
Willis.
forward to that right there. That's bringing the three characters together.
Yep.
It's been since 2008.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So that's 11 years. That's a long time for them to come back with a sequel. But in between time, they introduced you to, I forget the other guy's name.
Oh, James McAvoy. Right. Is that the one with the different personalities? Yeah, so James McAvoy is going to be in it. Bruce Willis, as well as Samuel Jackson in Glass. M. Night Shyamalan is the director.
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, it takes him a while, but he came back with that one.
Yeah.
You see what Lynn said?
What did she say? Oh, I can buy Foxfire and watch these movies. Nice Christmas, y'all. Send one to me. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, you can see them on Firefox.
I'm looking forward to the Western Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I think that's going to be an interesting film.
Yeah, the trailer looks really good.
Yeah, looks good. Let's see. Let me turn my thing around here. Now, people, coming out in March. Have you seen that Us trailer?
Oh,
Have you seen it? Right?
yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think. Wait a minute.
Well, while you're setting that up, getting ready for that, definitely looking forward to Taraji P. Hen's film, the remake of what is his name? Mel Gibson's film, the remake to that.
Oh yeah, where she's where she can read men's minds.
Yeah, that's
what
gonna be
men
hilarious.
think.
That is going to be a hilarious film. Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'll say.
As well as the next season of Empire.
Next season of Empire. All right, so we're sitting here because we're gonna give you. Have you seen that Us trailer, people? Have you seen that? That right there is a monster. Now
I haven't seen it.
I've seen it, so we're gonna get an honest response from this. So this is a feature that we're given because as you see, we move location again. When you see the replay, it's gonna be
because that's why we have the green screen up. So when it plays over again, you'll see the film review as well as other stuff floating around behind us.
All right, so let me.
But I'm looking forward to seeing the Us trailer because I've heard so much about it, and I know that it's gonna be a great film because it's the same person,
same production team
who
that brought us Get Out,
right? So yeah.
So automatically, so we're setting this up so we can get my wife's honest response to this because this right here, this trailer is a monster. So we're gonna trying to figure out which one. Yeah, right here we go with this one. So we're gonna bring it up here. We're gonna get her honest response. Here we go. We're gonna bring this up. Here we go. People move in just a little bit so they can get your honest response that you're watching. So we're watching the Us trailer. Have you seen it? It's coming out in March. Oh yeah, we don't own the rights to this music. this is fair usage and fair rights because we're doing a review, which makes this a newsworthy situation. Here we go. When I saw this spooked the hell out of me, and I waited.
He's not kidding. Hey, I think it's 5:00.
Oh yeah.
Where's Jason?
Jason?
Where were you? I didn't know if you were lost. Stick with me. I'll keep you safe.
There's a family in our driveway.
It's probably the neighbors. But y'all scared with family? Hi, can I help you?
Zora, put your shoes on.
If you want to get crazy, we can get crazy. You people.
You touch. They look exactly like us. They think like us. They know where we are. We need to move and keep moving. They won't stop until they
Okay,
kill us.
so this is scary
And we kill them.
because how do you battle something that thinks it looks exactly like you know your every move, but they're coming for you? So this trailer is amazing. Oh God, Lupita's a great actress. It's a good trailer.
Now,
It's creepy.
when I first saw that, it creeps me out on many
Yeah.
different levels.
Yeah.
Moving and just clip it so they can see, but it creeps me out on many different levels because one, and we're gonna break the psychology down on this before the film comes out. I can see this. This is deep. This is deep. One, he's using 5 on it.
Yeah.
5 on it by the Loonies is one of the bona fide hip hop classic jams in music, hip hop history, black history ever. I got 5 on it by the Loonies. And to use it and then to break it up in such using the ding, ding, as if it's knife slashes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just awesome using the ink block drawings from psychologists.
Yeah.
And what do you see when you see this ink block? It's all socially, it's all psychological to you, and you're seeing it, and you see who's doing it, and he's held this back. And when I had to, because I saw it late, and I had to step back from it and say, it's just a movie, and start thinking about something else. That's how deep this is. So what did you first feel when you saw it? This is your first honest situation. What do you feel?
Well, in the beginning, I was happy to see the cast, right?
We're gonna get to them later, but go ahead.
But then from there, when I saw the family and then the blood and it's gonna be good. Just seeing that, and then like they said, it's just like this is not just any other villain. These are gonna be people coming to, looks like, kill him, destroy him, but they're just exactly like them. So how do you battle someone who knows your every move and think and move like you? So this should be, it looks like it's gonna be a really great, like, psychological horror film. Yeah.
How do you battle someone who thinks exactly like you. Put a pin right there for that. We'll come right back to that. Put a pin right there. When I saw the film, and when I saw the trailer, I first looked at who's in the cast, and I said, "Oh, people are using their collateral
Right.
from being in the #1 film globally."
Right.
And they said, "Sure, let's do this. Let's make
Right.
this #1 film." So automatically, that is showing international and national Black pride
Yeah.
to come do this film, to take it to astronomical numbers that people haven't seen. That's one thing.
Right.
That's one thing. The second thing that I noticed about the film is it's a family that's exactly like that family.
Yeah.
And then the little boy says, "It's us."
Yeah.
Right? Third, let's expand it. It's a story about, to me, this is what I'm saying.
Right.
That it's going to be a story. Again, this is the through line that we talk about that goes from Oscar Michaud
Right.
up until today. It's a story about the self-hate that we are afflicted with in the Black community, where we look at each other and hate each other. We love each other, but at the same time, we have a hate. If somebody who is not Black was to step on our shoe, we say, "Oh, okay, that was just a mistake."
Right.
If it's somebody who's Black who steps on our shoes and leaves a mark like the person who's not Black, we say, "What you doing, man? You stepped on my shoes," and then it becomes altercation. So then it turns into, so this movie is more than just what it looks like
Right.
on the surface. Who's in the cast? Or-
Lupita Nyong'o,
Mhm.
Winston Duke,
Mhm.
Elizabeth Moss, as well as Tim Heidecker,
Mhm.
as well as Yahya Abdul Mateen. And of course, this is a film by
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele
Mhm.
from Get Out.
Mhm.
So,
And also what I saw in the film is, and what I can see from the different drawings that are coming up, this film has to do with the strength of the Black woman to keep her family together. This is what I'm seeing, that it's going to come down to
yeah,
her character saving the family, which then gets into Harriet Tubman, which gets into Sojourner Truth, it gets into Ida B. Wells, it gets into, I mean, you just name all the way through, and this is
Today.
a through line.
Today, right,
You know, people like Barbara Jordan,
right,
people like Maxine Waters, people who are pushing through and keep fighting to make sure that we are free.
Right.
And this is what it is. And one of the biggest impediments to us being free is the continued self-hate
yeah,
within the race.
right,
And, you know, willing to feel that maybe if we go this way and go along with the minority
right,
in the world, which is majority in certain countries, because that's how it's set up, but the minority in the world, we go along with them and turn against each other,
right,
then maybe we might advance. And
Right.
this is why we're where we're perpetually at.
right,
And again, go back, watch the Oscar Michaud movies. You say the same thing they're talking about
right,
then in 1920
right,
is what we're talking about now.
yeah,
So the film on many different levels is going to take you there,
Yeah.
and it's going to be something that you, just like Get Out.
yeah,
Get Out took you there and took you to the extreme, but just as Get Out came out, Trump came into office, and the Caucasians who choose the non-melanated,
right,
the European Americans who choose to be outwardly racist,
right,
that film showed you that before Trump got into office. So there it is right there. So Jordan Peele is pulling it back and being the type of comedy that he and his partner did
Yeah.
on Comedy Central.
yeah.
They met up and saw many different producers.
Yeah,
Kind of
what
like,
is it, the Key and Peele show?
yeah. Kingdom, yeah. just like how White Famous
Yeah.
tried to show you, but they only gave him 10 episodes and it was out of there.
Yeah.
Right, because it
Jay
showed
Farrell.
it showed an uncomfortable truth about what's going on.
Yeah.
So him being there, and it's the way that he crafts these stories. And the first story was race problem. This story is a race problem, just like Oscar Michaud's films talked race problems. So it's a through line, people. So that's what I love. That's why we do this podcast and we review films, because we are not critics.
Right.
We live it.
Right.
And so, go ahead.
Before we wrap it up, definitely check out. We saw it on Showtime, but the documentary on Suge Knight. Hi, Joy.
Joy LaShawn checking in, Cleveland in the house.
But definitely, the Suge Knight documentary.
Oh yeah, wait a minute. We can't be done. This is an extra extended, but let's tell us what you're watching right now. You are watching the film review,
Right.
The husband and wife team. We review movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracey.
And we review culture in movies, music, politics, and society.
Right.
And so this is the wrap up for 2018,
Right.
going into 2019. We've got the bird box to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't even got to the bird box. So this is the third. This is like in 3 acts.
Right.
We started with the wrap up.
Right.
Then we moved into what we're looking forward to, and now we're talking about stuff that we currently watched as we go into Act 3. Now, the Suge Knight documentary that's on Showtime on demand. We saw it on demand.
Right.
It sheds light.
Directed by, done by Antoine Fuqua.
And we know Antoine Fuqua from
Tons of films, with Denzel's Equalizers, as
The
well
Book of
as
Eli,
The
right?
Book of Eli, Magnificent Seven, and on and on and on and on.
So
Great director.
So the documentary, the interviews took place between 2011 and 2012.
Right.
And then there's some additional footage that is added in from, more current, recent, because it goes up to his sentencing for 28 years. He gets 28 years.
Yeah.
Now this is, as we said, what we deal with on the podcast is the through line. It goes from Oscar Michaud all the way up through today, and Oscar Michaud represented what had happened before, all the way up until his time, and we take it forward until today. So Suge Knight talks about how he got certain people from out of trouble so they wouldn't spend time in prison.
Right.
And put no aspersion on anyone,
Right.
because people make decisions according
Right.
to what they
Certain-
perceive under their circumstances. But he made sure that these people did not go to prison, got them out their situation, spent money to do so. But what you find is the same people who are working with people today didn't want to deal with the Negro problem.
Right.
Which the Negro problem goes back to Jefferson, who says that Negroes and white folks wouldn't be able to coexist together, so Negroes should be deported back to Africa. So that's where some of the Back to Africa
Well,
movement,
Garvey tried, and they
but
sabotaged
this is
and
later
stopped
though.
him.
This
No,
is
but
way-
I'm just saying, I know it's a
know.
difference in
but
years.
that was
but
the
I'm just
Liberia
saying.
wars that were happening
Right.
when there were some American
Right.
blacks who went back, and then the wars started over there, and then later Liberia, Firestone, Marcus Garvey coming from Jamaica, starting the Red, Black, and Green. And
So I'm just saying, they
the
say
Black
go
Star
back, but they
Line.
really don't want
Right, they don't really want you to go back. They really, because racism is about dominance, and if you go back and you're able to raise something up, they can't be dominant. They can't dominate you anymore. So they'd rather have you here, just like when the floods happened, when the dams broke in New Orleans, and the French had the boats out there.
Right.
The United States government wouldn't let the black folks take the boats to be rescued by the French.
Yeah, all the different countries
Came
helped and
tried
offered to in the
tried
U.S.
to take people. They said no.
Wouldn't let the black people go.
Yeah, wouldn't let them go. They rather let them drown
Instead of letting
dominant.
them.
That's called dominance.
Yeah.
So.
But the Suge Knight documentary.
Yeah, but the Suge Knight documentary. So he tell you. So this is that through line where we talk about their self-hate.
Yeah.
Like he was told by the people, well, we really don't want to deal with them.
Right.
And he said, well, I'm the person that will deal with. I'll deal with it and make it smooth and stuff. I'll be the buffer between the two. And they gave him the money, and then thus and so. That's how record labels work. They give people money so they can have an imprint.
Right.
That's everybody. That's anybody. That's black, white,
Right.
anybody who's doing it, Japanese, whatever. They're a lot in that, and that's what happens.
Check it out. It's a great documentary because I didn't
documentary.
even know that Suge Knight had a relationship with Puffy, with P Diddy.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and
You
you
thought
learn
you
that.
would think that they were
The East
rivals
Coast West
all the
Court,
time.
but they had a relationship,
And then you find out from the West Coast point of view, or his point of view, that during the Source Awards,
right.
and then the way during the Source Awards, the people in the East were not giving them as much applause or not recognizing them for their accomplishments.
And you see this in the documentary.
And you see it, but the way that they usually cut it when they're telling the story about the so-called quote unquote East Coast West Coast, which it wasn't.
Right.
When they tell that story, they make it seem like Snoop says, you don't have love for Death Row. Like he just came from out the clear blue saying it, and then Suge Knight comes out there. But when Fuqua tells it,
right,
he lays it out there totally to you, and you're able to see.
Right.
Through editing, the story can be told to you in any way they want to tell it, and then it's up to you to decipher it out. But the way he lays it out in chronological order of how it happened, instead of taking bits and pieces, putting it here, putting it there, and then making it seem like it was something where the West Coast artists were starting to try something or get something started. Right. He put it in, and he found out that, because hip hop did come from out of New York City.
Right.
They had a certain feel towards it, and they thought it should be done a certain way. And then when other people come in, bringing their own flavor from their own city, not acting like them, then they would then, kind of have angst against that, and that's understandable. But as the history has gone on, you've seen that West Coast taught how to make money. And so it's a good documentary. It's worth seeing. And now, when you see, there has to be another Tupac movie made.
Yeah, after seeing a documentary,
it has to be a more balanced and fair, because actually Fuqua was supposed to actually do it. Then it moved over to John Singleton. Then it moved over to Benny Boone, which they did a great job of showing Tupac's confusion of what was happening around at that time, because he was coming in trying to build unity, and they captured that well. But they captured, to me, now looking at that documentary, they caught the sensational side of Suge instead of showing the businessman of Suge, the multi-layer, the three-dimensional layer. And even the NWA movie showed the one level.
Well, it'd be nice to see, because although the Tupac film was a good film, I would like to see Antoine Fuqua, do a film on Tupac. After seeing the documentary, I said, okay, this is a good documentary, and I can see him doing a movie on Suge Knight. But I would like to see him also do a movie on Tupac, because hey, there are multiple movies for Elvis, for the Kennedys, and so hey, it can be more than one movie on Tupac.
The last Elvis documentary, I mean, they sanitized Elvis.
Yeah.
They made Elvis seem like he had never had.
I think did they leave out the drugs?
They left out the drugs, and they left out the fact that he stole music. They left it out. And,
yeah.
You know, so I mean, it was really weird.
Yeah, but I would like to see another. After seeing that documentary, I would like to see Antoine Fuqua definitely do a movie on Tupac or Suge Knight.
Okay, so Bird Box.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this first. This is the first thing I'm going to say about that movie. I'm going to say that there's no way that there is any black man out there that's just going to automatically have infatuation for a 50-year-old Caucasian woman. Automatic infatuation. I'm not, you know, I don't know. It just wouldn't be me.
Under those circumstances,
it just wouldn't be me.
Starring in Bird Box was Sandra Bullock, Trevante Rhodes, who we know him from Moonlighting, as well as other films because we saw him recently in another. Oh, he was in Predator. That's where we saw him. Sarah Paulson is also in the film. John Malkovich is in the film. Daniel McDonald is in the film.
Cleveland's Own.
Yep. Cleveland's Own Machine Gun Kelly is in the film, as well as Little Rail is in the film. It's a good movie.
You know what I like about Machine Gun Kelly? First, he smashed Eminem. Cleveland native smashed Eminem. Great job.
Lyrically.
White on white crime battle. All right, that's one thing. Two, he uses his hip hop name in movies and not. That's a code.
Yeah.
You use your hip hop name because that is the brand that you have built, and he used his hip hop name and not his government.
Right.
And some of us slave name. He didn't use that. He uses his hip hop name because that's his brand. So that's what I like about him. So he's true hip hop, and he gets in there and he stays true to himself as the character that he's acting with the story within the storyline. Now, the story is about a phenomenon happening around the country where there's something where people see something and they just go crazy. And so within all of this happening, you don't know that it's already happening until the initiating event happens, and then you hear in the dialogue that it's happening here like it was happening in LA. I think that's what she says. Something like that. But she's pregnant through all this. You know, she's pregnant and she comes out and then she sees something happening. That's the initiating event. She goes to her sister and they drive off, and then something happens. Her sister's no longer there, and then the story really kicks off from there. We're not going to spoil it for you. You have to see this film.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay, now the meaning of the film. You know, people may have what they feel the meaning of the film was. I think that it has to do with the ability of an entity or even a person to make you go against your best interests. And it is embodied in this invisible figure that people see, which psychologically affects their mind to make them do something against their best interest. And that's what the film is about. And that is, it's really about the Republicans and the Democrats. That's
what you get out of Bird Box.
That's really what the film is about. Okay. And about the independent thinking community at the end.
Okay.
That then is able to keep humanity going, and I think that that's what the film is about. Okay. What do you think?
I thought it was entertaining. It was a great psychological thriller, great acting. Because it's interesting. Because I don't want to tell the film, but I'm I'm like, how is she going to maneuver without seeing anything? And she does it. So, eyes covered, and it's horror film. So
Blind to the facts.
Excellent film. And again, once this replays, as you guys see, we have the green screen behind us, the magic of movie magic. So when you see the replay, you will see the film review as well as
I may
other
even
things
change the
flying
colors
around.
and make it so there's different colors for the 3 acts that we did here.
Okay, but before we wrap it up for the new year, definitely, what I'm looking forward to is more of on TV, because I'm waiting for Queen Sugar, and
Definitely waiting for Greenleaf.
Greenleaf, right? And I like the show that I'm gonna watch tonight. That'll be on in a few minutes. What is it? Love. What's
Love.
it called? I have to
What's
look
it
up.
called?
With Tommy. With the hosting the show, when the women and men are looking for love, with Uncle Tommy hosting the show.
Oh, okay.
And on the Love Network. And I can't think of the name of the show right now.
I mean, there's a lot of great shows on. 911, executive produced by
Ryan Murphy.
Yeah.
911 is an excellent show.
Excellent show.
Because you find yourself, before we go, like one of the episodes had something to do with the guy who's, just on the elevator, and then he fell.
Escalator.
Oh, the escalator, right. And he fell. He dropped.
And it makes you think, maybe I should jump over that little part.
That little part, yeah, it was, in the movie it was loose, and then the guy fell through, and he had to save him. But then when we were on the escalator, I purposely made sure I avoid that part so I didn't fall through. So I mean, it's a really good show. Did we say starring Angela Bassett?
Yeah, Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
Now, isn't Angela Bassett an excellent representative of one, black don't crack?
Yeah.
And keeping yourself together.
Timeless.
That you're 60 and you're still there. It's like you're 20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, people, before we go into a 4th act, we should wrap this up now.
Right.
This has been the film review recap for 2018. Recapping into the future.
Oh, I'm sorry. The show on OWN is called Ready to Love.
Oh, Ready to Love.
Yeah, and it's a really, really great show.
Oh, ain't that a good show too? That Chad and Michelle.
Yeah, they have.
Chad loves Michelle.
The have and the have-nots.
No, the have and the have-nots. It's over the top, but Tyler Perry, salute to Tyler
and
Perry.
And I love the Mind Your Business with Mahisha. That's good when she helps businesses, and I mean, of course, Super Soul Sunday, and I mean, so it's just the mastering class.
So it's a lot of things.
So a lot to look forward to in 2018. We said Empire Star.
Yeah, Empire Star. As a matter of fact, Star is a through
really
line because it's actually a religious, a spiritual show when you really watch it.
Yeah,
it's the through line
Queen
within
Latifah.
Star when you watch Star. So watch Star and see it for more than what you see. Watch. Matter of fact, Empire has some great writing.
The writing is great.
It's really taking you there.
Yeah.
And taking you to other places with it. So, as we close out, this has been a beautiful 2018. We started this in the spring. And we've had over 30 episodes of the film review, but we've reviewed so many films within those. Sometimes we do 3 to 4 films within that. Oh, we did Napoli Ever After. We talked about that. Yeah.
And we also was able to interact with the director Wes Miller.
Yeah, Wes Miller.
That was one of the highlights
from
in
River
2018.
Runs Red. So shout out to him.
Yeah,
we
so it's nice to interact with him.
And we want to interact as we do these with other directors. Come on in, chime in, give your thoughts on our thoughts, and we'll give our thoughts back on you about your thoughts and everything, and to build a thought consensus in a think tank. Okay, so as we close out, I'm looking forward to the rise of Monique.
Yeah.
In 2019.
Yeah, because she has a residency now
coming to
out here.
the SLS.
Yeah,
and we're going to be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to getting the interview.
Right.
But anyway, that's in the future.
And definitely check out, again, D.L. Hughley stand-up on Netflix.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it yet,
Contrarian.
you have to see it.
You will be laughing
You will
everything.
be laughing.
You know.
And go ahead.
He says something where he says the same people who brought you Jesus also brought you slavery, and the audience was like that. He said uncomfortable moment.
Right. They had to think about it.
It's an uncomfortable moment. It's true.
Right.
It's true. So
check it
anyway,
out.
so this has been the recap of the film review. We have enjoyed. Oh, please stop that. Okay, we do not own that music.
It's just,
You know, it just came on. But listen.
make sure you pick up Tidal.
Listen, this has been the film review. The recap for 2018, recapping into the future 2019, and we are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D,
I'm Tracey.
and we review movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. And we review culture in movies, music, politics, and society. Happy New Year to
Have
you.
a happy, safe
New
prosperous New Year.
We're gonna see you on the other side in 2019 with new reviews.
Right. Music, movies, whatever comes to mind.
Whatever comes to mind, and
Right.
we'll probably go see that favorite film and review that.
Yeah.
Because that looks interesting.
Right.
So hopefully you're enjoying this season. We're in Kwanzaa right now. We're in the 5th day of Kwanzaa, which I don't have it, but we will be posting that. Make sure that you friend Crazon Dion on Facebook. Join Lordland Films at Lordland Films on Facebook. Check out our podcast in recorded in audio only form on SoundCloud, the film review. Watch us on YouTube, the replay, where you're gonna see this totally magically transformed with film magic on the film review on YouTube. Follow Crazy D Film Dude on IG and get ready for the IGTV channel. Some things are up already, but more are coming. And
Happy New Year, Leanne.
Happy New Year.
We love you too.
Happy
Good
New
night.
Year. And then, thanks for our East Coast, the eastern side of the thing. That's Midwest, but they're on the eastern side of the time zone.
So we know it's
hanging
late.
with us. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
We want to thank y'all.
We know it's 1 a.m.
Yeah, we know.
106.
So, as we close, we have enjoyed bringing this, and we're going to look forward to bringing more
Many
to
more.
you.
Yeah.
And remember, the through line, that's what we're about. That's what sets us apart.
Right.
We bring the through line through our history, which is American history.
Right.
If it was no us, it would be no America. So that's it. You have been watching the film review. Movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
See you in 2019.